Welcome to Riconius The Podcast. It's Podconius number 5. Number 5. That's crazy. 5 already. And I'm here with the co-host Jordan once again.
How's it going? I'm Jordan.
And today we have a special guest, Monitor Comics himself.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, clap. We have no soundboard, but we're clapping.
And everybody clapped.
So, it's a podcast, and this is the live stream of the podcast on Twitch, and the episode will go up tomorrow on YouTube. And also, it is a podcast, so there will be a live chat open during this live stream. We may not interact that frequently, but if something catches our eye, we'll reply, and stuff. And also, as you could tell by my hat, this is the week where on the 25th it will be Christmas. But also, just happy holidays, everybody. So, what you all excited for the nice times with the families?
I mean,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't even know fully what I'm doing, to be honest with you. I know one day I'm gonna be at my dad's. I know I'm gonna have something with my mom, and someday with my nieces and nephews. I'll figure something out.
Yeah, we just have a grand old time. But yeah, so cool. Michael, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
Doing pretty all right. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Monitor Comics and I are both creators of series under the banner of Saturday Afternoon. So we're published with Saturday AM, world's most diverse comics and manga. And
they are.
Absolutely. And also, if you guys want to know more, you could put in the live chat right now, !Saturday, and a little link will pop up to Saturday AM. But also, coming soon, January 15th and 16th, is Saturday Con. Saturday Con is going to be a virtual convention where there's going to be some panels and events and stuff and cool guests and all that.
So it's Saturday and a Sunday. It's Saturday Con.
Whoa, my mind's blown. Dude.
That's deep.
Are you kidding me?
I'm
All
sure
this
it's still
time?
Saturday somewhere in the world.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Well, yes. It'll be multiple days, not just a Saturday. But it'll be fun, Well, there's going to be some cool stuff happening there. All things anime, even some other entertainment things. I think video game stuff and guests, including us. Oh.
And it's completely online, right, Ricardo? So anybody's able to attend.
Absolutely. So you could put in Saturday Con, !Saturday Con in the chat as well. But yeah, all right. So yeah, this is it. So what's up, Michael? How you doing? Already asked.
Doing fantastic. Yes, 9 p.m. where I am at. I'm in my college dorm, but I'm drinking water and chilling.
You gotta stay hydrated. That's for sure. Oh, here. Hold up. In the chat, I see there's an attempt there. I'll do that real quick. Ooh. What is popping up on my PC? That's so bad. Anyway, so
That's my webcam, you jerk.
oh my bad. Yeah, that was frightening. So yeah, I mean, let's start with like basic stuff. I mean, dude, like what? Change the World, your series. I gotta know what was it that made you want to start it, and specifically like that story.
So Change the World, the genre is contemporary fantasy. That's what me and my editor decided to call it. Pretty much just like fantasy set in real life. But I've always been a fan of like slice of life stories. So I wanted to create something that was like based somewhat on my own life and like life experiences that I've had and others have had around me. And I've always been a big fan of like magical shows like The Fairly Odd Parents on Nickelodeon. Death Note was a big inspiration for Change the World. and just things like that, where it was just everyday people who get like a magical item or something, and it helps them out in everyday life. So that was like the general premise of Change the World's concept. But as an artist myself, I wanted to like create a work that would speak to other artists. Like growing up, Bakuman was like that series that I feel like a lot of artists can relate to, that when they read it, they were like really inspired.
Yeah.
So I wanted this series to like have a little bit of that like flair in it and passion. So that's why it focuses on a character who wants to be an artist. And the whole premise is like, can art really change the world?
Right.
I read the first chapter, and I honestly thought it was going to be like autobiographical when it starts out, and it's like, oh, there's this kid who's like, I'm going to be the next, I'm going to be the big artist, and everybody's like, no, you can't. You're not going to make any money being an artist. And I know there's so many creative types, because I don't draw, but I play music. People that creative types have to deal with that by so many just outside sources. So I was curious if that was coming from like a place within, or if that was just like the norm that you knew to write about.
So yeah, definitely. I feel like most of the characters have a bit of me inside of them. So growing up, it wasn't like my parents' favorite idea for me to be an artist. I actually went to college for biology for like a semester before I switched out. So yeah, I was on that path where I've been doing art all of my life, throughout like elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. But like for most of my life, I was pushed to do something else, even though everyone saw that that's what I like to do. So that like is like found in my main character. And I think that's an element that most creative people can like relate to, that, everybody's not always going to support their dreams and their passions, but they should. And I want this series to like encapsulate that like kids should be allowed to dream and like chase after their passions and what they want to do.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely like the theme that obviously resonates with anyone who's a creative or have any sort of thing that's like their hobby, but is like a passion, and I think now we're in a day and age where like those things can absolutely become careers, like that are just I feel like it's been more supported nowadays, but like there still is the pressure of like, well, you got to make sure that there is going to be like a stable income from it. Or just
it's like, pre-internet age, trying to be sustainable as an artist. I mean, I could, and not just visual artist, as an artist, there's a lot of, getting your name out there sucks.
Yeah. That's a big thing. So what has been like, what is like the journey? Cause I know, I believe we both kind of first connected with Saturday AM through Summer of Manga, not the last one, or not the my bad, not the 2021, but the 2019 Summer of Manga. I believe.
Yeah, I was in issue 106. Which issue were you in?
I think it might have been the same one. I don't know.
I was waiting for like 105.
It was like the Apple Black was the cover of the one that I was in.
Oh no! You know what? Mine was in. I think Bull Eater was on the cover, and it was.
I think that was before it or after. I think that was in the same batch though, right? Like we were in the same summer manga class.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Because you did. Okay. You did the one like the eating one, right?
Second serving, the competitive eating.
There you go. So. Yeah. So like what? So how did that happen? Like what was the thing that compelled you to connect with Saturday AM and even send in like your own pitch for summer manga?
You want the fan origin story?
Absolutely. I need to know.
So Fred always brings this up that I'm pretty young for like the group. I'm 21. I am legal. I am an adult. So but he always has to mention that I'm a kid. So Saturday AM started like I think 10 or 12 or 8, one of those numbers years ago. So either way, if you subtract that from my age, I was like in the 12, 13-year-old range, I guess, when Saturday AM first started appeering. Damn, so I was literally a kid. So I like literally like grew up with that in like middle school kind of.
Really?
I was 18.
So so it's like weird to think about, right?
Fred is right. You're a kid. No, I'm kidding.
I am a kid. But, I can get away with stuff if I'm considered a kid. But so yeah, I've been watching white manga ever since I was little, and Saigami on YouTube, and then other artists like Mark Crilly.
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
There was this channel called the Rona Project. There was another channel called the Shoujo Guy. My Mangaka Life, and there was a couple other ones that were like inspiring me as a kid. And so yeah, I followed White and Sagami's journey like throughout YouTube when they were doing it. And then I remember one day they both said, "Yeah, we're doing this thing called Saturday AM." And that's how I first found out about it. And then yeah, I just like looked at the requirements. I was not old enough to
that's right,
submit,
yeah.
I think, for the contest. So I had to wait until I think the age limit was 16 or something like that. So I had to wait a few years. So I just did things on Webtoons and like things like that to practice and get ready for when I finally could start applying to the competitions. But my first pitch got rejected one year, and it was during the first Saturday Con. I think they were reading them, and I was like, "Oh man, that was my first time experiencing that was my first time experiencing Fred's feedback." But I took it to heart. I took it to heart as a young kid, and I was like, I took notes while he was talking, and I was like, that's not going to happen again. And so the next time, I made sure to do everything he told me to do in his feedback, and then that's how second serving got picked up. So I only applied twice, and I was 1 for 2. But
bro, the boss man can be brutal, man. Like.
Yeah, the final boss, like the Sephiroth music plays when he like opens up your like work. The One Wing Angel, like that's all I hear when Fred comes out.
It's so true, yeah. Immediately the ba 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 ba, and then that's what I think. I think it was either earlier that year of the Saturday Con or the year before when I first ever sent in a pitch when they were doing like the pitch session things on YouTube where they would just like go through different people's pitches to kind of like give the experience of what it's like to pitch a story idea. And that's when I pitched my idea for Daisy Push, which is another idea. And then Saturday Con.
Smash.
What was that?
I just said not Smash.
No. That was later.
That one was?
No. Later. Okay. That's the one that got picked up for Summer of Manga.
Yeah.
Tilt. But before that, at that Saturday Con, like that early Saturday, like what would we call it? Like a beta Saturday Con, or like it's like the pre-alpha or anyway, that's where I pitched like the very, very, very early version of Boneyard, and it had a lame name too, because I was like,
what was the name? It'd
be clever because dominoes are called bones, so then my idea was like, oh, bone effect, like a domino effect. So bad. So anyway, exactly, Jordan, that was my face. Yep. No, but that was fun because then it was interesting because I think Fred liked the idea, but then like it was like but that was just like a fun pitch session thing. I'm like, oh man, I'll hold on to that then. But then I think was it the following year that then there was a Summer of Manga, and then I was like, well, I still want to do something that's about like a kid playing a game that I really like. And then that's when I pitched Up Tilt, and it was not Smash. And
I didn't even realize that you were the artist and like the author of Up Tilt. I remember reading that.
Dude,
that's crazy. Small world.
I just gave him crap the whole time by calling it not Smash every time he did anything with it. I was like, oh, it's not Smash.
Yeah, and that's what that's the thing too with my editor. It was like, well, the reason why that wasn't picked up, it was like part of that was, it is too close to Smash.
The early versions of it, especially, were there like a lot more ideas that were Smash.
I could argue though, there's that really popular series right now that's like a light novel called Bottom Tier Character Tomazaki, and they have a game that's based on Smash, and it's like pretty popular. And I'm like, if that can fly,
are you kidding me?
Up Tilt should be a thing. I'm just saying.
I'm giving up on this. I'm gone. I can't believe that was actually working now. Someone else does it. No. No, yeah, that was funny though, because I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, but it was fun because also it was a very, very, very like bare bones, like basic story with like, anyways, that it was still a good experience because I learned a lot about, the editorial process and everything. Like so like since starting, like what is something that you've like really picked up on and like learned from just the process of now working with like an editor and the whole process we go through for the series?
Yeah, I started learning how important planning was. So when I was doing things on my own before I had an editor, I was the type that was like, scripting, that's cool and all, but not for me. And then I was the type that liked to storyboard things first. I would storyboard a few chapters. And then like I would start inking it, and then like when I got to chapter 3 or something, I'd be like, okay, now I gotta start thinking about 4 through 6. But once I started working with an editor, I realized how important it is to plan ahead. Like not even just like your first volume, but like your entire series overall, just like a basic idea of like where it's gonna go. And that really helped me get consistent and like disciplined with creating comics and manga. So like growing up, I had an issue with like dropping projects too quickly. So like I think on Webtoons I had like 5 chapters of a story and it was like hundreds of pages, and then I was like, but I'm bored of it, or I don't know where it's going, so I would drop it, or like I'll do 3 chapters of another thing and then drop it. So like I was still doing a few chapters, which I feel like is more than most people who like try and create comics can usually do starting out. But yeah, definitely like working with an editor, it's become easier for me to get more done consistently and like at a high enough quality by planning and like scripting and all the stuff you should be doing.
The actual process that's like skipped a lot of times, and just people go straight for like, well, I'm gonna do these pages and that means it's a real comic, and then
and like concept art, like I see a lot of people always posting concept art of OCs, like this is what my manga is, and I'm like, but where's the manga?
Yeah. There isn't like actual content. It's just the ideas for it. And that's that's definitely, I totally echo that. Like actually having a full plan for like Boneyard, like knowing where things will end at a certain point, and from that then like being able to go into each individual chapter and be like, okay, this is when this will happen. But even then like not having like the full idea yet, but then like talking with like with the editor and being like, okay, so like this is the idea I had, and then getting like the feedback, well, what if you try this, and then I'm like, oh
yeah, true,
I could try that, and then I go and try that, I'm like, yeah, this is working out, this is really working. And then but dude, like I think how's it felt to like, because you, as somebody who has been like following as like a fan of Saturday AM for as long as you have, like how has it been to actually be working with Saturday AM, and then now actually seeing, oh, you have a multi-chapter like series that's running like with Saturday AM? Like what's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely weird when like white manga knows I exist. Same with like Jay Odin and like Saigami like retweeting or like DMing me. That's still weird to me, because I grew up watching them. And usually, and I remember I got invited to critique the March Art Madness, I think it was earlier this year with White and Jay and Fred, and I was like, what am I doing in this room? It's like literally like a child in the room with like adults. And I was like,
why am I here?
I was literally like, why am I here? But so that still like takes some getting used to play cool, and
I forgot to mute
like
my
a normal
alerts.
human being. But it's definitely really cool to be a part of the team. I've looked up to them for a while, and I really respect like what they're doing and their mission. As a person of color myself, I do like see the importance of diversity in manga and everything they stand for. So I'm just glad that I can use my art and stories to like help push that mission forward and make more diverse manga for kids like me to see when they're growing up. So like I grew up like reading Saturday AM and enjoying it and seeing characters like me. So I want to keep doing that for other kids while they're growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like how Saturday AM's really been legitimately like diverse in their stories, like where the point isn't like the character's not going to be telling you every 2 panels like, hey, I'm this. It's no, you just have a story that's being told, a good story.
Which, by the way, as a white person, I appreciate that. Yeah, because it's one of those things. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was whenever we were watching. I kind of got off track a little bit. It was Game Awards. Remember, Ricardo, and they were showing Saints Row,
right?
And people were like because they called it the woke version, and Ricardo and I had no idea what they're on about.
Yeah,
and it was for the longest time I didn't realize that there weren't like a main white character on the screen, and I guess that was why people were offended. But I realized that. I guess I'm so used to everything being white people because I'm a white people that I don't really notice anymore whenever it changes. But then once it's pointed out, I see it. So if people just constantly are like, "I'm the token character," it's like, oh well, you were an alright character. Now it's been ruined for because it's like I am pandering.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Like that's their purpose for existence, is to not because they're a character or to push a story forward. It's because checklist.
Yeah,
for real, 100%.
exactly. And that's why I'm so happy and proud to be a part of like Saturday AM, where like that's really something that they get right is just, or dare I say, we get right.
Yeah,
Because
say I
we're
haven't
part of
seen
it
any
now.
pandering in your gut. In fact, yeah, I was thinking of Ricardo's. Like, is there white people in Ricardo's? And I don't know. I never thought about it. There's a very famous Mexican actor in Ricardo's.
Oh right. Can we talk about for a minute the great Danny Trejo and his little cameo in my chapter 1? No. Nah, but yeah, dude, like it's been surreal too, because I knew white manga when he was doing like years ago when he did what is it called, Top Hat Samurai, I believe, on DeviantArt, and that's how I knew him. And then he had a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, he does YouTube, and he does like, you know, videos about making manga. And I remember years ago he did this one video where he was like, I don't even know if it's on his channel anymore, but it was like he was like just inking a page for something, and then he had like a little notebook with like character designs and stuff for what would eventually be Apple Black. And then fast forward, then he mentions something called Saturday AM. I'm like, oh, what is that? But then it was even a bit after that, then I came across Saturday AM on their own, and then I realized, wait a minute, isn't that white manga, like the guy from YouTube? And then that's when I found out, like, oh, this is the thing he was talking about. And then since then, like, just been following them. And then I think it was actually, yeah, it's been cool. Like the people that I've been a fan of, like reading their content, like contacting me, or even, you know, posting my stuff, commenting on my stuff. Like times when like I'll get like a notification and it's like white manga like retweeted or something, like, no, what? This is surreal. Like there's no way it's this guy.
I'm like pin that.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, screenshot. Oh, actually, you know what? There was even a this one meeting or something that we had. I don't know if you were there. I know Tremaine was there, and I forgot who else. But like in the same call was like white manga, Jay Odin.
Oh, really? I missed that, definitely.
Yeah, I forgot who else was in it. But I was like,
You took a selfie with Discord. Like,
well, no. It was on. Well, it was on a different thing, but not Discord. But yeah, like being in there, and I see them on there, and I'm like, that's them. Like they're in this call, and then I did like sneak a little photo to send to my friend. Like, dude,
I knew it.
I did. I was like, dude, I'm in this call with these people right now, and it was,
Mom, get the camera.
yeah, no, it was insane, dude. No, for real, like, yeah. But
I think it's the one meeting I missed.
I think, well, I don't know if it was no, it wasn't for,
not a meeting.
It wasn't for afternoon. It was for something else.
Okay.
But it was, yeah, this was before, I think this was even before like our, like, this is before we had like
before
the
we
official
all got put
afternoon.
together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I forgot what it was, but dude, it was just insane. It's just been cool to see that, and like people who've been a part of Saturday AM, like Senny and even Christina Grimheim, like they've been such welcoming people to, like, I think just that's the other thing too, like the culture that surrounds the actual company of Saturday AM has been like so welcoming and very they just make it comfortable to just be there. And then now you know, in our meetings and Saturday afternoon, you know, we have fun there, you know. You know,
we them boys.
No, for real, we them boys. And even the things like the bubble guts thing, you know, things like that, like, which, I mean, I don't know, I've included it in my series, but I don't know who's noticed it, but that's a fun thing, things like that, you know. So yeah, man, like, what, I'm trying to think, like, what would be the, I guess, number one takeaway thing, like, from having this series now, and I guess moving forward, like, what is the one thing that you I guess the one thing that you've learned since starting to just even draw, and you've now kind of like, I don't know, the one lesson, I guess, from like years of art and now having a series, like what is the one thing that has stuck out to you?
I think like the motto for my YouTube channel kind of encapsulates this. How I always tell people to, like, as always, keep creating. Because I feel like it's really hard, or it's really easy to get discouraged or compare yourself to another artist or another series and be like, yeah, I could draw comics, but like my comic's not as good as that one, so why should I keep making it? Or like, I only got 10 likes on this this chapter, so maybe it's not good. Or maybe I only got like 5 Instagram likes. So it's like there's a lot of like factors that can always like pop into your head for why you shouldn't do something.
Right.
But by doing this like all these years and working with Saturday AM, like that's why I have that motto, like, as always, just keep creating, because there's a story that I want to tell, and I'm sure everybody else has a story that they want to tell. So, you know, I'm always the number one supporter to be like, just go tell that story. No matter your skill level, your writing ability, just get out there. And as Shia LaBeouf says, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my biggest takeaway, is to just do it and keep creating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that just as long as you're just consistent with just making the thing, you know, whether it's visual art or music or whatever it is, like, just if you just keep doing it, then
do it because you love it. Yeah,
because even
all
when
forms,
you do,
you'll find that people that are that you look at and you're like, I can't do any of this, why am I trying? You find that musically, you find that, you know.
Yeah, and if you do it, and if you want it to be like, if you're you know, you want it to be seen, like, and share it with people, just, we're in the internet age, man. Just do it, put it online, and there will be somebody who sees it and will latch onto it. Like that, like, just now speaking from experience and having seen that, it's like, just do it. And like, man, like the reception that I've had from since like the Boneyard series started has been, I just can't believe that there have been people who've like messaged me or whatever or have like talked to me about it. I'm like, I didn't expect people to really even find some things in it that I had even intended for people to catch on to when reading it, and to find that there are people who actually like caught that thing, or even tell me that, oh, this is my favorite character now for this reason. I'm like, I didn't even expect that character to be like a favorite yet. It's just chapter 2. You know what I mean? Like things like that.
I have a favorite character so far who is somebody who hasn't really done anything, and that's just the new guy they just recently met in the last chapter.
Elias?
Yeah, he's like, we met him and I was like, there's something about, I was like, I kind of like the, because he seemed genuine. And I was like, I feel like Fat Boy's reaction was a little over the top, because this guy seemed like his heart was in the right, and I know you had his reason for it, but I was like, his heart seemed like it was in the right place. So I was like, I think I like that character.
That's so cool.
Boy, I like Fat Boy.
Dude, yeah, I love that Fat Boy's being loved. Like, even, it's funny, even in the Riconius Discord server, somebody changed their name in it to be Gordo Fan 37. Like, I'm like, oh wow. I didn't expect that to happen, but I was like, that's kind of what I wanted, to be honest, is like, but yeah, even with like someone like Elias, like, I just love the idea. Yeah. I mean, because they barge in and then he's like, oh, hey, you guys, which one of you is going to join? Like, just like this innocence.
I like this guy.
Yeah. But yeah, so what, man, like, how has it, man, I'm trying to think, man, because it's like, because I feel like there's just a lot that we're kind of like in that same boat of like, I mean, we were fans of Saturday AM and now we're working with Saturday AM, but like, what, so I'm trying to think, there are a lot of questions in my head, or like, well, I want to ask that, but like, I mean, so what about you? Like, what have you thought, I guess, what is your reaction to the reaction to your series? Like, what, like, how's that?
I feel like imposter syndrome has been very real for me throughout my entire artistic journey. So like, even when I joined this call and Jordan said he read my first chapter, I was like, somebody read that.
I did.
So yeah, like 30,000 subscribers later, and I still get that feeling whenever someone says something about anything I do. I'm like, oh man, you read that. But yeah. So the positive reception's been huge. Like all the fan art I've received, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate like the yeah, it's like it's weird, but
yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out the second chapter. Like I said, where the ink thing kind of went, and then your little like what can I think of the word? My mind just blinked completely. The cliffhanger at the end. I was like, oh, this is going somewhere completely different than I thought it was going to go. I'm curious to see where this, and that's like sincere, because Ricardo will very clearly agree that I can be a very hateful person when it comes to opinions, where I can just be like, I hate this and never give it a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to win Jordan over with like something like, oh man, Jordan, I think you like this. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, dude, that cliffhanger from chapter 1. I remember when I read that, I'm like, I didn't think you would be doing something like this. I didn't expect this at all. And
yeah, so I was like, oh, this is taking a different path. So I actually am going to go and check the second and third chapter.
Because then that even immediately changed my thought of like how exactly like this book would work. And I'm like, oh my god.
Same.
Oh my god.
And I like the fantasy element.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I got a long message from Effie's Art on Instagram. He's the artist of Gakaboom, and he was like that cliffhanger. He was like that. He like sent me a whole paragraph of his theory of how the book worked, and I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm like, I'm writing the notes down because I'm like, those are some good ideas.
So far, it was this magic book. I like your idea better.
That's basically how Tetsuya Nomura writes Kingdom Hearts. He's like,
well, yeah,
that's your fan theory? Oh, right. Mine.
Time to write Kingdom Hearts 3, KH Wiki.
Yeah.
But oh man.
Instagram poll.
Exactly. Dude, no, that's so dope. Yeah, man. Gakaboon, by the way. I like that one.
Phenomenal artist.
Mm-hmm.
Much respect to that dude. So when he hit me up, I was like freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel, dude. Like, cause I even got like, yeah, when I get a message from like someone like I think even like, oh dude, when I got a message from Seni, Saigami, I mean, we've messaged each other before and stuff, but like when it was like specifically about like my first chapter and everything, just reading it, I was just like, to get like this feedback from someone like that, like skilled like that.
That's crazy.
No, what are you doing? Like, you what? I'm not worthy.
I appreciate you guys are actually able to remember all the different creators, because even in like the music stuff, I'm absolutely terrible with it. Like, remember when I did the thing, Ricardo and Destati, like the Kingdom Hearts group, they like messaged something to me about a thing I worked on. I was like, oh, that's cool. And Ricardo's like, dude, do you know who that is? I was like, no, I'm absolutely terrible with names. And I looked, I was like, oh crap, I know the music, I just don't know these people.
Yeah, Project Destati. Yeah, that was funny. I was like, how do you not know who they are?
I think it's because of the family, like the element of like the teamwork, and like Saturday M, like we're all very supportive of each other, and it is like a Saturday M family. So even in like the other magazines, like I'm cool with Christina. I've talked to Val, who did Otherworldly Travel Agency, the author of Detective Weeb, I think is the username. They did Yellow Stringer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel it's just everybody's really supportive in Saturday M. So I try to make it a habit to try and learn their names. And if I don't know their username by heart, I'm like, yeah, the author of this reached out to me. But
yeah, and then that even like cements it too. Is like they did that series. They're the ones they're in my DMs. You know, like that's crazy. And then because even speaking in maybe the past I don't know, maybe it's been like a month or so, but like when I was hit hard with a lot of things, including like, you know, a bit of like a burnout too, and through that, like being able to like message someone, like I think Tremaine had messaged me, and dude, like that was such an encouraging message, because it was like I mean, first of all, being another Saturday afternoon creator, he's in that same boat, like he gets it, and on top of that, just understanding, like him understanding like what you know, like having to kind of either take a bit of a break and whatnot, and then even messaging our editor, like him understanding like, oh yeah, take the time that you need and everything.
Yeah,
that's been super helpful. And then
our editor is so understanding.
For real.
There's so many times I've hit him up and I'm like, I'm sorry it's late, and he's like, it's fine. I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I'll handle it.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy to have somebody that's got like that important of a job that's able to be chill about it.
No, exactly. Yeah. And even then, like, yeah, there are like, the talks and stuff, like the encouragement, like, hey, just keep doing it, keep doing your work, get it done. But then also the understanding, like, well, if you want it to be good, then if you need to take that time,
Yeah.
And it's so helpful because like now I'm like, I mean, I don't want to say anything, but like I'm so happy because chapter 3 is definitely, it's definitely hitting some things that I really wanted to get down, and I'm finally getting down. Like, oh my God, like, yes, like I want it to look this way, and I'm happy that it's definitely turning out that way.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. And so what for you has been the hardest thing so far of working on the series?
I guess I have way too many ideas, and I need to figure out when I reveal something and when I don't. So like the whole thing with the book, like if I really wanted to, I could have him do everything I want him to do right now, like experimenting with different like art tools and things like that. But after like talking with our editor and just like understanding like showing and not telling, like I want to start like exploring different things like over time, and exploring how the book could be used differently like throughout. And see, I guess like the hardest thing for me is like pacing, because my story is like a slice of life too.
Right.
So I do want to focus on like the character development, and like aside from the fantasy, I want to like explore like different characters' backstories and like how they interact with the world and grow. Because like Mateo is like roughly based on like me and every artist who's like pushed to do something else that's not art. So I want to like explore that whole like effect on his like mentality and his like mental health, about like how he actually like overcomes this and like becomes the artist that he wants to be. But so far I only have 3 chapters, and I feel like every like artist and creator and author has like a million ideas rushing through their head, where they just want to get into the climax or like draw that really cool fight scene or like do all that stuff. But you have to like understand and like respect the beauty of like the mundane scenes of like just characters hanging out or talking or going to school or something like slow, and like little scenes, like stuff like that is like where I need to step back and be like, okay, let's take a break. I can get to that cool scene in chapter 5 or 6. Let's just focus on like building up the character right now. I also do like to include humor in my story, so I feel like that slows it down a little bit. But yeah, I guess the hardest thing to answer the question, the hardest thing for me has been pacing, as far as getting all my ideas out there and when I want to start showing things.
I agree. Like,
I was like going off that. Oh, go ahead, Ricardo.
I was gonna say, like,
if I deal with that too.
If I wanted to, I totally would have, like, it would have been stupid to do it, but like just have the next game happen in chapter 2. But then too many pages, and then it would be like,
I'm glad you spread it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you can teach the more mechanics further into the
exactly,
which I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yep. What were you gonna say, Jordan?
Oh, well, well, so I don't know if you guys have had to maybe deal with it much with your current ongoing series, because you're both at like chapter 3 for the most part. But something that, because I also enjoy writing and stuff, and one of the worst things I think with that is you have an idea in your mind and you have like, all these ideas you want to implement, but you get to the point and it comes down to the pacing sometimes, where there's an idea that you really, really like and you really want to include, but ultimately for it to work, you have to cut it. And do you guys have you either of you had to deal with anything like that, where there's an idea you just really want to include, but there's no way to make it work without going out of the realm of whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like kind of breaking the path you're following to try and make it work, or just go naturally and just have to exempt it. Have either of you had to deal with that?
Like having to just cut out something that we really wanted? Or?
Yeah, so it's like something you'd really like to put in there, but it just doesn't go with the flow of everything else. So ultimately you realize for the sake of the series, it's better to cut it in the long run.
I guess do you have an answer ready, or you want me to go first so you can think?
You go
He looks
first.
like
You
he's
go first.
thinking.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I had a meeting with my editor recently about like the course of my series and like overall like where it's gonna head.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of author where when I'm writing a story, I'm like, this can go forever. Like I'm cool just doing, especially with the slice of life. I'm like, I'm cool just
Absolutely.
doing like everyday stories and like character growth arcs and stuff like that. And I was like, I can make this go as long as I want to because I have like the 5 basic plot points that the story needs to hit before it ends. And like I have my actual ending kind of figured out. So like at any point I could work towards that, but it's just figuring out the in between for me. But
Okay. Yeah.
with my editor, I've been told that like I should avoid filler if I can, even though that's like something that I kind of wanted to include, like just like character or like story arcs that aren't really focused on moving towards the main villain or the main plot, but just like focusing on the characters growing or learning a lesson or something. So yeah, I guess I've had to chop out like filler content that I wanted to include. But
It's kind of bizarre too, because I mean, I wouldn't say that big of an anime fan, and honestly, I haven't really read that many manga in my life at all. But whenever it comes to like filler, some of that's my favorite because I actually like a lot of the stuff that explores the characters more than just like, and then they fight the bad guy. Like I kind of like to see more of the internals of everything going on. But
like
that's
in
my
DBZ
own.
when they went shopping.
Well, some of
Like
those are
literally,
great.
like
when
literally,
Goku
yeah.
and Piccolo got their driver's license.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
stuff like
entire
that.
section, like before the Boo saga, like before the tournament arc, where it's Gohan going to school and he meets Fidel
Yeah.
and there's the kid and he plays on the baseball team.
Oh
and
yeah,
he
like the
starts
opening
training
to
her
it.
and
Yeah.
teaches her to fly. I love that whole section. Like as a kid, I was like, get to fight. But then when I'm like seeing it now, I'm like, oh, this part's so good. I'm watching our little boy grow up and fall in love, and he's going to school. It's
Like when he plays
I don't know.
baseball and like hits it too hard,
That's what I was
stuff like
saying.
that. Yeah.
And like the bully
Majin
guy's like
Buu.
at first a dick. He's kind of like, you know what? I kind of see where he's going. Like he's starting to push like as a friend more than or a frenemy more so than just an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Majin
Yeah.
Buu's gonna have to wait.
Yeah,
Ball comes first.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I say for myself in terms of like things I had to cut. I mean, I guess in the development of the series, there was like an idea of how to approach the story and what kind of story would be. It was going to be very different. But ultimately, I think I'm glad that was changed and I'd say cut because it ultimately came back to what I always initially wanted Boneyard to be, which was just about the kids in LA, like actual, like just real world, just actual, like just LA playing dominoes. But then like their journey through that and like how, you know, and their relationship and the people around them and everything, like actually keeping it smaller in scope, I guess. And but
which is hard to do. It's very easy to want to jump to the macro level because you in your mind know what's coming at the end and all the big events, and it's so easy to just want to jump to this.
Well, even then, it's just even I'd say like the genre would have been very different, and yours
is like shonen like collectible, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh meets
it's definitely like it's under like the banner of like the sports manga, which includes like even board games, like Yu-Gi-Oh does and Hikaru no Go, but like with something like Yu-Gi-Oh, there's still like the fantasy, like just normal like battle shonen in it. And
what was your onomatopoeia for the dominoes being laid down?
For dominoes being laid down. Wait, what do you mean?
Because you had like a sound effect. And I can't remember. Clack. Because I remember every time I read it, in my mind, I'm hearing the domino just like, and I was just like, it's perfect.
Clack.
For some reason, that's just one of those things that like resonated with me most as I read it. It was like, yes, that's the sound.
No, and that's the fun part. Like this, I remember in chapter 1, it's when Theo Nelson like just pours out all the dominoes and it's just clack 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 clack. Because like when you dump the dominoes, just like
it's like
it just goes all over the table like click click click. So, and it's just simple too, just clack but yeah,
it's
like
the perfect sound.
So the things that were cut, like I'm glad were cut, or like just the idea changing back to what I wanted it to be, and then on top of that, then with like chapter 1 specifically, it was really cool because I didn't really get many notes back. And so when I was like, okay, the chapter 1 is going to be like legit, like my own thing, like the thing that's like the way I wanted it to be exactly. I was like, this is like it's insane because like even for like the one shot that was in Summer of Manga, like that was, you know, there were different changes and stuff for that. So to like get like hardly like I didn't really get notes back. Or the only note I got back was like, it's good. Like just that's it. Like we won't really touch it. I'm like that encourages me and like kind of helps me kind of be like, okay, that means that I did something right for like this intro to the story. And then now like I believe like chapter 2 it was just more of like, you know, if there's like typos or grammatical things, you know. And then so I was like, okay, so if that's the case, then all right, good, then that way again I don't have to worry about like having to have like rushed in like you know, again like a big moment or even the game in chapter 2, like it could like pace it like I had planned to, you know. And then I think yeah, no, I don't think there was anything that I cut. I think there was something I was thinking of cutting, but I think it made it work when I didn't cut it because I was thinking like, are there too many like little like Easter eggs or cameos?
Was it Trejo that you wanted to cut?
I was debating that for a bit. I'm like, should I? Does that? But then I was thinking, no,
I think that's the most like far out cameo you have. Is just.
Although Jordan, I don't know if you noticed. Did you see one of your favorite teachers in chapter 2?
You had Mr. Feeney?
No, but you're close.
Did you have Corey Matthews from Girl Meets World?
No, I hate that he said Girl Meets World.
Well, because that's when he becomes a teacher.
No. But the teacher in chapter 2 at the beginning of the chapter was a little bit inspired by Mr. Turner.
Was he? Did he have a motorcycle helmet?
No, but he had like the same hair, like that 90s kind of.
Okay.
But I don't know. Also in the background on the whiteboard, it was definitely just like Mr. Turner, like he was teaching on The Dark Knight Returns. But anyway, it's a fun little cameo. But anyways, so yeah, no, I don't think, yeah, that was my answer to the question of cutting something out.
I think Saturday M's been really cool so far with like letting the artists explore their vision. I owe a lot of my ideas to Fred. Like early on, I was bouncing ideas back and forth with Fred, and he gave me a lot of like the
Right.
He even came up with the title actually for Change the World because I had like 20 options, and I was like, are any of these cool?
Huh.
And we would like narrow it down, and then he helped me come up with like the main 5 plot points or like villains that would show up in the story and like the big bad and like stuff like that. But so far, yeah, they've been cool with like letting me explore the story how I want to do it. I guess like
That's so good.
I was worried about the character expressions like being out there for like in my story. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna fly.
I get what you're saying.
Or I was like, I don't
the
know.
like SpongeBob style, just like zoom in grotesque face.
I was really worried because I was like, I don't know if my humor is gonna land with anybody, and I was
thought that was great.
I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna like this art switch, but like the reception's been pretty positive. And my editor just told me recently that they like a lot of the Saturday M artists really liked that art style change, and that was like a big like wipe the sweat off my face because
yeah, it makes really me think SpongeBob, so I'm down.
Yeah, yeah, because it's inspired by like Nickelodeon shows like SpongeBob and like Fairly Odd Parents. So I wanted to keep that element in there with the anime style, but
no, I get what you mean. Yeah, I was worried about like some things too, like that, where I'm like, are people gonna get it? Like, and that's why I was happy because the way I did like the, you know, having like I guess Spanglish, you know, like just
as I say, the Spanglish is great.
Yeah, like being able to, I was like, okay, how can I do this where it's just flowing, like it's just natural dialogue, but then it's also like you know, I still have the Spanish in there. And so like the way in my head I thought about it was like, well, it's kind of like if you're watching like a TV show or a movie that has Spanglish, like if you want, drop a subtitle or even,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so kind of having like,
I really like that touch in your story.
Do you have any
Awesome.
characters in your story so far that actually don't know any Spanish, so that they're just like, they'll hear it and just like, you know, like they don't,
Maybe.
because I know that you haven't really had anybody like question it yet, so I didn't know if there was anybody that actually didn't know it and they just kind of went along with it.
Maybe there may be.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, during the early planning stages for Change the World, me and Fred and our editor Austin were talking about, because I wanted my characters to be Mexican because I'm Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a conversation of should we explore like themes of like immigration, or should we explore themes of like Spanglish was a conversation that came up, like should characters speak Spanish? But ultimately I came to the decision not to include it because personally I'm not an immigrant and like no one in my family is. And also
that's really
I can't speak
interesting.
Spanish. Unfortunately, I can't speak Spanish. So like as much as I wanted to include those elements, I knew I wasn't the one to do it. So I didn't want to.
Dude, that's so interesting
I think
because
it's better from your point of view though to be that way.
Yeah, what's interesting about that? Did you say that? Like it was sort of similar. Like we had discussed for Bone here, like discussing like that, like should we touch on like immigration and everything? I'm like, well, that wasn't really my story, you know. Like I didn't really have trouble, and even with my family, the process for them in the past, like the previous generations, it wasn't really. It wasn't like it wasn't like a huge problem. Like it wasn't as bad as it has been like in more recent, I guess, past decade maybe for people.
You didn't have to deal with the worst. Yeah,
and even then, like it was just I think what was good is that there was understanding there, and that I wouldn't need to touch on that. But even the fact I'm like, well, I mean, that might not have been my own struggle with, you know, with my race and stuff or whatever, but like there are other issues that I can touch on, and I'm happy to.
And I admire this,
that.
by the way. I realize I'm the last person to be able to talk about race issues here. But the fact that you're dealing with it goes back to pandering. You're not going to go into every issue because it's relates to the ethnicity. It's like, these are issues I've dealt with. I'm going to throw it out there.
Yeah, there's the ones that I've dealt with. Yeah.
And it's like Michael with the Spanglish thing, I think is great because our buddy Kirk is Puerto Rican, but he also doesn't know a word of Spanish. And I think that's like the joke is because his parents can speak Spanish, or he'll just yell Ocho Taco Burrito because he doesn't know any Spanish, and his family is Spanish speaking. But I think it's cool to not necessarily have to have that, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'm this is my ethnic background, I should know this.
Right.
Like I think that's actually
and
more
that's
inclusive.
a legitimate like pressure too. Like
yeah.
Growing up here,
Kirk's family's talked about it when we were in New York visiting. His mom was like, yeah, we wanted Kirky to know Spanish, but because his grandma was this way, he didn't.
But yeah, like I know for myself, like the big thing like is I'm either not Mexican enough for Mexicans, I'm not American enough for people who were born here, but it's like, but I was born here. So growing up, going to school, you know, learning English, you know, so it's like, that's how I'm growing up learning English and learning like concepts in life, like maths and sciences in English. So it's like all these things it makes it hard. And there's pressures like then within the family where it's like, well, I feel, even though I'm not like told like, oh, you should be ashamed directly, but I still feel that shame among family members because it's like I can't carry a full conversation in Spanish like as fluent as they, you know. But then it's like, but I think what's helped is like, I mean, I haven't had that pressure because a lot of people in my family that are like more around my age, like we all just like even just kind of more do of like a Spanglish thing than full on Spanish a lot of times. So. That has been like, so that experience, I'm like, okay, I can relate to that. And even then I at least know enough Spanish to be able to have fun with like some dialogue like that. Like there's like a small joke that not everyone would know, but like in chapter 1, when I think Manny's mom was at the door and she's all angry and everything. And there's that moment where like they turn around, Manny and Fat Boy, and then Manny's like, miércoles. And then Fat Boy's like, it's not Wednesday. And that's more of a joke because like miércoles, like, that's just like a way that we've like grew up we grew up like using that as like a way to like censor mierda, and so like, which is in English, it's shit, and so like you just say miércoles, and so like the joke was like, Manny was just right there, he's like miércoles, and immediately Fat Boy's like, it's not Wednesday. So that was a little joke that was in there that's like a common thing, that I think some people would get, but not everyone. But yeah, you also learn to have fun with it, and even remembering in recent time, like a movie like Coco, you know, Pixar's Coco, like how it was very much a movie that resonated with me because it was straight up like in Spanglish, because you know it's in English.
The music was beautiful.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's like it's in English.
No, I get you.
But like they still speak Spanish in it, but it's like in the same amount that I grew up kind of like speaking and hearing it, where it just felt so much at home for me. Also same thing in the newer movie Encanto. Go watch that. But so like that, so I was like, you know what, Boneyard could work like that. Like just naturally have some Spanish in there sprinkled throughout, make it Spanglish, but like still enjoyable for anyone who's reading it, who, I mean, at least knows English, I guess, because it's published in English, you know?
I love that. But actually, yeah, going off of that, because you said besides Coco and Encanto, can you think of any other things that do that, like have the Spanglish in there?
There is a movie called, it's an older movie. It was directed by, I forgot who directed it, but it's an older movie called Blood In, Blood Out. And it's actually one of the earlier movies that Danny Trejo was in, like as a background character kind of guy. But that movie, it's funny because it also takes place in like East LA and in the same areas that Boneyard takes place, but then also in San Quentin, a prison. And so I think it's San Quentin, but anyways, in that movie, it's definitely like that, where there's a lot of like Spanglish in it, because you're following a character from East LA, and most of them, you know, they're Spanish speakers, but then they're from LA, they grew up there, so it's very much Spanglish. And then so that movie does it, and there's even like a few other productions, like there's a TV show called Gentified that's on Netflix. It also takes place in East LA. And then there is
Write What You Know, I guess, right?
Is it like pretty uncommon though? Because I think it's cool that you're keeping that alive in Boneyard. I think I'm sure there's like kids and like teenagers reading Boneyard who are like, oh, that sounds at home to me too.
I think it's happening more again, I think, because like Gentified's more recent. It's a more recent show. And then even when that movie came out, In the Heights, the musical from Lin-Manuel Miranda, he definitely like keeps like Spanglish in there, and it feels like that too. So I think, yeah, it's definitely something that's either coming back or has like, or
it sounds like a joke answer, but Dora the Explorer and things like that. I mean,
yeah, that's kind of done it too. Yeah,
it's one of those things though. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, because obviously I was too old for that show, but I remember my mom had like a babysitting service, and there was all kinds of cool words that I was like, oh, this is, because I didn't take any Spanish courses yet. That wasn't until like high school and college that I took on my.
This sounds like you're trying to justify why you're a fan of.
No, I wasn't watching Dora.
No, I'm kidding.
It was them one. I was just in the room.
I don't have a tattoo. Boots is on my back. No.
Yeah.
Legit. Dora the Explorer is definitely
she speaks
one
English.
that's definitely been there, like that has done that. But no, yeah, to do that, like I don't know, it's just I'm so glad that it's working so far. And even for like some words, like I'm purposefully not putting like a little margin note for words that have already shown up. So like in chapter 2, there are words that have already been used in chapter 1, and there are no margin things in there.
It's like you should have learned it.
No, it's like, yeah, so like, you know, like why does this one word have an asterisk but this one doesn't? I wonder if he put an asterisk in the previous chapter. You know, like go back and read it and you'll learn it. But even then, you know, I'm thinking, so like,
or just be mean, like, God, Ricardo's an idiot. He forgot to put the asterisk on this one. The editor didn't even catch it.
When you're making the volume 1, are you gonna have like a glossary with just all of them.
That was that was an idea I
That's a
had.
cool idea.
Have like a glossary, or like even if there's like if you need to like have like pages in between chapters, to have like like you'll end a chapter and then there'll be like a page that
white
has
page,
like white page, or like a part of the glossary on it, and then having like fun ideas for that. Things like have like a little, I don't know, like a little, like a chibi Manny being like Spanish lesson of the day or something like that.
That'd be really cool. I'd love that. Like Dr. Stone does that with science, but I think that'd be really cool with like teaching kids Spanish a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah. I had like some ideas like that. But it's just been fun to just like be able to feel like, do it like naturally, and like have it feel like it's it's in East LA, and it's just fun because like earlier, I don't know if it was like last month when I took like a day trip to East LA, walked around, or like we drove around and saw some places, and even places that are in Boneyard or will be in Boneyard, and like taking a picture of the one of that corner store that chapter
that was one
one
you sent us, right?
Yeah. It's like seeing it there, I'm like, dang, this is so cool, because it's like even though it was there before my series, it's like my series came to life, but it's it's been there. And it was funny too, cool, because there was even a truck parked next to it that was parked in the same spot that's in the panel in chapter 1 when it opens. Like it's the truck, it's the Boneyard truck.
Boneyard live action.
Well, that's the same thing. Whenever they make the Netflix original series, they'll film it in New York, and it won't look the same at all.
That's like easy to adapt. I can see it happening.
That's the one that should work.
Well, that's the thing, because I remember I was asked this, like if Boneyard were to be like adapted in some way, and of course the main thing that people will always be like, oh, what about an anime? I'm like, I mean, that's the easy answer, but honestly, from how I've been drawing it and writing it, I'm like thinking of like, no, I could see this more of like a live action, either TV show or a couple movies, probably TV show.
I still argue you already made the anime intro in the first one, because I've talked to you before that my favorite part of the first chapter is like them running, and there's like the title page on the screen.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. I love that too.
Because in my mind, I'm seeing this whole. I even hear like a full song that would be written over that.
Well, I mean, in my head, I mean,
I know you have a song already.
Yeah, there's a song. Like I even have a Spotify playlist that's like the unofficial soundtrack for Boneyard, and like a lot of music in there is like, that's the music. If there were an anime or even a TV show, I'd be like, go to my playlist. You guys better license these, because we're gonna use these, like whether you like it or not.
That's So Raven theme song.
Ew. No, I mean, it's funny because it wasn't even intentional, but so that's why I had said like, a live action like TV show or something, because there's an actor, I was like, this dude, he grew up and basically looks like Manny somehow. It's creepy, but the kid who played Miguel in Coco, if Anthony Gonzalez, if you look him up, like his current like photos and stuff, he grew up like, and it's like Manny exists in real life, and it's kind of creepy, but it's also really cool. I'm like, oh yeah, I would cast him. I would want him to be cast, because there was one movie on Netflix that I saw somewhat recently that he was in, and some of the lines he delivered, I'm like, that's like Manny's character. Like, what is going on? What about you, Michael? Like, what would Change the World be adapted into? Do you think it would fit in? That's an older photo. Well, look
I get the question too, like what I wanted as an anime. People ask me what studio would I want to animate it. Honestly, I feel like, I don't know. I'm not opposed to the whole Western adaptation, like cartoon style. I feel like people are all so set on the anime style, but I would be cool if it like had a cartoon style, because like with the expressions changing so often, I feel like Western cartoons can kind of like capture that a little bit better. But I haven't really thought about it. I'm more set on just making the manga good. True it is.
It's so, it's seriously, it's creepy because I did that. That was actually during the time I found that out. Like, I saw recent photos of him while I was making that one artwork that was like all of our characters, Saturday afternoon characters, eating at In-N-Out. And after I drew Manny's face and I saw that.
Well, it's just that I'm pretty sure you've made him have that face before, Manny. Like the side mouth thing.
Dude, but it's like his whole like his face is like the skeletal structure is just it's like almost exact. It's creepy, dude. Like I'm like, dude, that's the eyebrows, the nose, the mouth, it's Manny. And then like just everything, like his hair, if it grew out, like oh man. But yeah, no, I get you. Like I think, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to like if it were animated. It doesn't have to be an anime.
Yeah.
Or even if it were, like, I mean, it depends who. Like, if it was like a studio, if it was like Powerhouse who did like Castlevania and Seis Manos and stuff, like they've done a good like kind of balance of the two, kind of like how like Avatar: Last Airbender kind of had some like like the cinematography had a lot of like Western stuff in it, but you know the character designs were still like true to like anime style, you know. Like you had a lot of like choreography that was like that wouldn't really be seen in anime, but like you know what I mean. So I think it'd be cool. Like,
and they animated it in the style of Western fashion as well, rather than using a lot of like the same shots. It's a lot of frame by frame.
Some stories like I feel like are better as manga too. So I feel like if mine was adapted, I'd be the first person to be anonymous commenting on it and being like, yeah, but the manga's better. Like I feel like mine would be a bad adaptation if it was.
And then a bunch of people attack you defending the manga or the anime and the manga. Yeah. You're just like, well, this is weird.
I'm on my burner account and I'm like, oh.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, but that's funny because like I know it's interesting that there's going to be a new movie coming out for Slam Dunk. But like,
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
but it has been like years since like the anime, and like the anime, if you go back and watch, it's kind of harsh, like the way it's just, you know, older. But like it's funny because I could totally see like Takahiko Inoue like being like, yeah, it's not meant to be animated, because it's like because then you look at his stuff for like Vagabond. That will never get an anime.
It'll never
it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like you cannot get that detail to move. Like it's
same with Berserk. Like they tried Berserk, but you just can't do some stories. You just can't adapt.
Nah, you can't. Like I think because the other thing too is like I think with Vagabond, maybe if there's like you could maybe do like a movie with like you know, live actors, because literally the environment is like real. Like you can't. Yeah, I don't know.
How do you handle the in studio changes as well? Because they're gonna have their own writers, and their writers, you know, they write.
Yeah.
Give me filler. If they add filler, add the filler. I'm like, please do it.
Yeah, you know,
I'm also at that point where I'm like, if you want to give me a crappy 3D animation, I'm like, my email's linked below.
This is the episode where Manny kills 3 people, and then it cuts back into your normal series. You're like, what was that?
Yeah,
filler arc.
Like just randomly, like Mateo enters a skating tournament. What? Okay.
He wins third place.
Like that's kind of sick, to be honest.
No, it's like actually.
I get the next chapter about him going to a skate park. now it's canon.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, what is? How insane! What do you think? I'm trying to find out a way. So okay. Because we know, I mean, I don't even know if we're allowed to say, but with like Saturday Con.
Like, I don't even know too much about it. It's kind of a mystery at this point.
Yeah, I just know there will be.
I've been told that we're there.
Yeah.
I think that's public knowledge.
Like we know there's
everyone's going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, we know there's going to be like a panel.
It's like Smash. Everyone's here.
Yeah, everyone.
Well, if you go to the page where the tickets are, Ricardo, they explain that there's going to be the creators there and maybe even some celebrities and stuff. So if that's what you're worried about,
yeah, the survey said like tutorials.
It acknowledged that other people are going to be there too. So
they said influencers too. Yeah.
I'm trying to see though
You don't have to name drop if that's what you're wanting to do.
No,
like,
no,
not to
no.
brag or anything.
I don't
Not
even know any guests that are coming. I've only been told like one guest, but I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't been told much.
not
It's
that,
that
but
Ricardo fellow.
it's ew. Why would he be there? No, but even thinking about that, and I don't know how many cons you guys have been to, but like to have like kind of
None, because I'm not a nerd
oh right, you're too cool.
and I'm not invited. I don't have friends to go with.
But when oh my, sorry, it's because I just went to like the SaturdayAM.com/Saturday.
You found the survey, yeah.
No, not the survey, like the page on the site that has
Yeah.
like a list of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm.
But oh, that's actually really cool. Anyway, going back on track.
Saturday Con coming soon. Make sure everybody shows up.
January 15th and 16th. But so it's just insane knowing how, like, I mean, you know, I've been to conventions and stuff and been like the fan to like line up for like some panels or, you know, go to like go to like meet voice actors or whatever. And just like, I don't know how you feel, but like the fact that like it's like now being on like the other side of that, like being the one who is like the guest at the convention, you know, like I don't know, how does that make you feel? Because I'm still like dumbfounded by that.
Yeah, I'm flattered. You know, I'm very excited for the opportunity. Can't wait to meet all the fans. I can't say that I feel like I have like an expectation of like what it might be like because I had to go to college during COVID, so I had to do Zoom University, meaning I had to give like PowerPoint presentations on like a Zoom call. So I feel like I have some experience like talking to virtual audiences, but other than that,
I guess it would kind of be like like just like streaming, wouldn't it? Like
yeah, I feel like it would be like streaming. But it'd be cool to. It's gonna be cool to talk to all of you guys on the panel and like whatever else we're doing. I have no clue what the schedule is, but
dude, that's it's just the idea that's like gonna be like like this line of us, and it's like oh dude,
I want to do like exclusive stuff too. I don't know like what the plan is, but I always thought it was cool how at cons like some artists. Like I remember Kohei at one convention like drew a little quick sketch of like Deku and signed it, and it was like just for the convention.
Yeah, those things.
So like I would like to do something like that where like all of us just draw like a quick thing of our characters and sign it or something. I don't know what we would do with it or what we would do, but
NFT.
Like
I'm joking.
Yeah, like just stuff like exclusive stuff for the convention.
Yeah, no, yeah, that'd be dope. Like it's just really cool to think about. And but speaking of like, you know, fans or people who receive and consume your content.
Oh, that's the other thing. So like I have 30,000 on YouTube, but that doesn't mean anything when I'm like thinking in my head about how many people that is. Cause in my head, I'm like, I'm making a video in my room.
Well, I'm putting it up on screen right now.
When we do like the convention, I don't know if it's gonna be like we're gonna see all of the fans or if they're just gonna be like a list. That's gonna be weird to me if I see like 100 or 200 names in like the room. That's gonna be like strange, isn't it?
Well, we're seeing a bunch of names or seeing like 1,000 webcams turned on with his faces looking
exactly. Webcam, it's gonna be strange.
Because that would be terrifying.
Yeah, that'd be like, oh my goodness.
I'm gonna be like.
Yeah,
talking.
exactly.
Because when there are like just like, you know, the names on like a list or whatever, like or on a chat, it's like there's still like a disconnect of like, you know, those are people. True. But when you see if you see like faces, it's like, oh no, it's an actual crowd. But yeah, like speaking of dude on YouTube, like when did you start your YouTube channel? You're at 34.7K, my guy.
Yesterday. It's crazy.
Yeah, I did it like 2 years ago. So I think I grew stupid fast, like out of nowhere. But yeah, growing up, like I said before, I've been a fan of like White Manga and Sagami Project. And as a kid, the kid next to you is probably not a comic artist. So like growing up in school, like I didn't know anybody else that was interested in what I wanted to do. Like sure, there were kids that might have liked anime, but no one was like, I'm gonna make an anime or make a comic or a manga.
Right.
So as a kid, seeing people like White Manga and Senny and like Mark Curley and all them making comics and manga online, that really like blew my mind. I was like, oh man, there's other people out there actually doing this. And then inspired me to like keep drawing comics and get better and like learn more about manga and all that. And then as I got older, like 2 years ago, I got the idea. I was like, well, they did a lot for me when I was a kid growing up, and I felt like I was alone doing this. So I was like, I feel like I should try and give back a little bit, and that's why I started my channel, because I was like, I can make it like a channel based on like what I've learned as a manga artist. Because as Fred likes to say, I'm a kid. But
now you have experience. Like,
I've been published a few times, so like I did want to share like what I learned, like how to get published, how to get through the pitch session, and like my experience working with like an editor and all that. And it seems people have taken a liking to it, so I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah, it's that insider knowledge that people kind of, that are wanting to be in that field crave. It's like even movies, like the behind the scenes and stuff, weird things like that, where it's like, like Star Wars is a great example. I think, Ricardo, like whenever they show stuff like how they make certain models and things and how like camera tricks, whenever you see people that have that as their dream, all of those little weird things are just God sent. So if you can make an entire channel built around that for people that want to follow that dream, it's fantastic. It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That'll help a lot of people.
Like I'm very like proud of the community that like grew from it, because like my comment section is so wholesome, and I never expected it to be that wholesome.
That's so
Have
good.
you set up a Discord for all of them?
See, that's we can get into Discord later. I'm planning on making one. I just have no clue how to run it or like set it up. But with the YouTube comment section, I luckily have a lot of like fans that want to keep the knowledge going. So like if I have a 10-minute video about a topic, a lot of people comment like long paragraphs about their thoughts or like research they've done before, things they've seen in anime and manga.
And that's so good for YouTube.
That's really cool.
So if you like watch, so it's good for YouTube, and it's good for the fans, and it's good for everybody. So people like look at my video and see like the 10-minute thing about like making a protagonist, and then they go to the comments and they see like 300 comments about people sharing their research and thoughts about making protagonists. And there's like threads going on throughout the comments. So like they gain just as much info and like value by going through the comment section as they did watching the video. And I think that's really awesome, especially with like a channel like mine where it's like dedicated to helping people create comics and manga, that they can have more resources to look towards. That's also why I'm really big on like artist support. Like I'm always shouting out channels. I'll give him a shout out now. Like Ricardo right here, who streams on Twitch, his series Boneyard. Chris Burns on YouTube, DD Mark on YouTube, like White Manga, Saigami Project. There's another artist that I like, Midnight Cross. There's like a bunch of like comic manga artists out there that are doing similar things to me. Yeah. But I think it's really cool that like we're all out there like sharing our knowledge and helping aspiring artists like get their work out there.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like someone like Mark Crilly, like that's the dude I grew up watching him a lot on YouTube, and like that's the dude that I would watch like all the time with like, how to draw manga or stuff like that, or how he'd do like so many tutorials, but even then, he would kind of share his experience, like when he did his really early stuff, when he had like that one book series,
Brody's Ghost. It's stuff so cool.
Oh yeah, Brody's Ghost, like that came
Mickey
later.
Falls?
Bro, even Mickey Falls. There you go. Yeah.
Yes, sir, I know about that.
Exactly. So like, exactly, like all that, and then so like to know like you're now like kind of the, I guess the next generation. You're like the next one, kind of like doing that now for even
I'm
younger
like proud to
kids.
say like I'm always open and upfront with being like I was definitely inspired by people like Mark Crilly and White Manga and Saigami. That's no secret. Like I'll always push that, but I think me and a couple other channels came out because of them, and now I've seen a bunch of other channels come out because of me and creators like me. I think it's
Monitor
cool
inspired us.
Yeah, it's so surreal when like people are like saying things like I started streaming or I started sharing my work online because of you, and I'm just like, oh man, who am
that's
I?
awesome. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's like the dream with it right there.
Like knowing that it's touched or impacted someone to be able to like make them want to do it.
A creator that's inspired others to create.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep. That's
Art has the power to change the world.
What? Someone should make a story about that.
I feel like I read that somewhere.
What? Someone should write that down.
What the heck? I'd watch that. I'd read that.
You've watched the Netflix original series on it?
Yeah, the 4Kids adaptation.
That'd be awesome.
Oh man. Just
oh no, water shot out of my book because ink is too violent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't use pens. We use donuts. Wait, what?
There's giant pencils that are like that big instead of the sharp ones.
Yeah. And just in case they have to put on like a helmet and a life jacket before they use it.
It's, just it's like crudely drawn on there. Like
you're not allowed to point. You're not allowed to point the pencil at each other.
Yeah. Oh man.
I would support that series, by the way.
No, yeah, seriously, that'd be funny.
Yeah, 4Kids. My email is linked down below.
I think they're gone now. I don't think they exist anymore. Because like they just went.
Because all the kids that watched it grew up.
That too, I guess.
Yeah.
And all of them like just told their kids never to watch, so they just lost all the viewers. Oh man. What is? I was gonna ask what is the big thing that you're excited for with your series, or even the things that surround it, like what you would want people to look forward to with your series, without obviously not giving anything away. But
I'm excited for everybody to follow along on Mateo's journey. He's the protagonist from my series. Early on, I was stuck between how I wanted him to like present himself. So like, is he a goody two-shoe character? Is he like a delinquent? Is he stuck up? Is he insecure? Is he anxious? Like that kind of thing. And I ultimately went for like somewhere in the middle of everything, but I wanted him to lean towards he's just a kid. Like he's not perfect. He's not a goody two-shoes. He might use the book to cheat on a test or something. He might use the book to help a kid who lost their dog or something. Like he's just a kid who's easily influenced by the world around him. And he's got this situation where like his father wants him to be something that's not an artist. And he really like looks up to these artists that he sees online and all. And so I really want people to like, I'm glad that people have told me that they like really like him and vibe with him, because he's going to change throughout the series and learn more about himself and like creating art and like what it means to be an artist and like how this book can actually help him get to where he wants to be and help other people see his art. So I feel like every artist will be able to take something away from it. And that's what I'm really excited to show. Similar to that Bakuman effect, how like every artist probably like got inspired by reading it. I'm like, want my series to have some kind of inspirational element like that in it. By the time you finish it, you'll close it and be like, man, now I really want to create something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was curious because it seems very much like at least I know Ricardo, it seems like the you think of yourself more of an artist than like a writer, like so to speak, in terms of like the creations. So does that like are parts of like the writing process? Do you find that a lot harder? Like in terms of like,
yeah, definitely.
Because it's one thing to write.
Say
it's one thing to write dialogue, but to write dialogue that feels natural and fluid and makes it doesn't feel like every character has the same mannerisms, the same like things that you yourself would say. Like there's times I'll read it and I'll be like, oh, that's a Ricardoism. Like I'll read something, I'll be like, this is something Ricardo would say, and I can't not think Ricardo whenever I read it, and that's just because I've known Ricardo for so long. I see that in the writing. Well, exactly. For people from the outside, they probably wouldn't recognize that. But do you feel like, are you ever worried with writing with issues, either of you, with issues like that?
I definitely do, especially with the dialogue, because I feel like my humor is kind of out there, but I have to like think sometimes. I'm like, is this joke gonna land, or would a kid really say something like this or do something like this? But so yeah, there's like that back and forth sometimes between maybe this line wouldn't fit here because it's a kid saying it, or like decisions like that. As far as story writing goes, I definitely had to learn along the way. Part of my YouTube journey was also sharing what I learned with other people. So when I was making a video about protagonists, I was doing a bunch of like studying on protagonists myself by like reading articles, watching other videos, looking at other manga series and anime. So like while I was sharing that knowledge with everybody else, I was still learning at the same time. So I definitely improved over the years by doing that. But I feel like writing didn't always come naturally to me, but now that I know like the basics and the fundamentals and like how to look at other good writing stories and stuff, I have a better grasp, especially with the help of the editor and our publisher. It's like become
that's very cool,
easier to write a cohesive story.
Because another factor too is like having to know like how to lay out a page, like when you like like the writing also impacts like the pacing of the panels, and
there's so much that goes into it.
It just makes the whole process like difficult, but like but still like just that's become part of it, and that's just become like it just has felt natural to just know or not necessarily know every time like how to do it well.
Yeah, that's another reason that
learning how to do it.
That's another reason I made my YouTube channel, because I've had subscribers like message me before. I mean, like, I can't believe that there's just one channel I can go to and I can learn anything I need to know about creating comics and manga. So it's like a one-stop hub. Like, if you want to learn about characters, I have a video on like the first page, the 3-chapter rule, and like character making and storyboarding and scripting and like all that kind of stuff.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm trying to create like a central hub where everything that I learned about comics and manga, and as more things come out. So like one of my like ongoing series is like shonen manga success in a certain year, where I like look at this most successful shonen series right now in the current year and like talk about what they're doing different and why I think that they're being so popular right now. But I just feel like I lost my train of thought. Talking about just having like all that in one spot.
Your channel's like an ongoing thesis statement. Like you go and do the research and you're like, I think this because A, B, and C, and then you explain it and come to your conclusion. It's a research channel. It's pretty good. It's like
I think that's what's super helpful about it. And
it is, because you're
helpful for
taking it from other sources, not just your own.
Yeah. And then that way it's that even shows that you like you are caring about what you're talking about, and it gives it more of like a valid like this guy knows what he's talking about, because he's not just speaking from his own personal opinion, or it's like literally from the experience and stuff that's like being passed on from people like who have been doing it also, like from the research you've done. And
I don't know if you read the book by Araki, the guy who made JoJo.
I still haven't, but I know of it.
So, and like I was reading it, and like there's some sections where he's like, we're going to talk about the greatest manga starting with JoJo Part 3. And I was like, I think that's like when somebody like uses their own work as an example, like that's why I'll never use my own series Change the World or any of my stuff as an example for like good writing or successes or stuff like that. Because I feel like I should be actually looking at the numbers and the data. So like I do try and think of it like a research thesis kind of, where it's like I'm going to look at the shonen titles that are succeeding and not just talk from my perspective, because I don't want to promote my own series like that. But also like I want to give information that's valuable for people who might not even be a fan, because like art's subjective too, and like stories, like not everyone's going to like what I do. Not everyone's going to like what everyone does. So I want to look at the things that are working and share that with people.
And that's why I'm happy. Like there are people who have picked up on like, oh, like they'll tell me like, oh, that reminded me of this or whatever. And I know like a big one that I've gotten is like Hikaru no Go, because they play Go. They play another like old board game, and it's not like super there is like somewhat of a fantastical element, because you have like the character Sai, who's like a spirit of an old guy. But even then, that kind of like is gotten rid of like at some point in the series, and so there isn't really like that's not even there. It's more about like just a real world like game. And I'm like I appreciate that, and because it's like, I mean, that's, first of all, it's a really good story. Secondly, like it's made by like like, at least for the artwork, it's the same artist of Death Note. It's Obata is like one of my heroes in art, but like it's also like, I think like sometimes there's like a bit of a danger, or not a danger, but it kind of I'm like, don't put me in a box, because it's not, don't expect that it would be like the exact same kind of story, because I'm still trying to do my own story. But like but do you think that there is, I don't want to say like a fear, but is there like I guess is there like a worry of like maybe your story being put into like this box of like, oh, it's gonna be like this kind of story because it either has this kind of art style or it has like this?
That's a great question, because I had a similar question as well with that.
Yeah.
Answer, of course.
So yeah, it's always interesting seeing the theories. Like some people expect this series to go in the Death Note route, where I kind of hinted at the end of the first chapter about like how other people like the main character is a kid who's using the book,
right?
But like that can change versus if an adult's using it or like a politician's using it. So like people can use it differently. So people have different theories and like ideas of where that story could go if I wanted to explore those like darker topics. And I also have people that like like the slice of life comedy aspect and think that it's going to be mostly focused on that, with the magic book being like on the sidelines. So there's like different ways that it can go. I guess I haven't personally like ran into the worry of like it getting put into a box, because I'm the type, I don't know, I've always been the type of artist where I'm going to do what I want to do. So like I'll take my editor and my like publisher's advice and feedback seriously, but like my decision to like include those changing art styles and the facial expressions and the humor, that was like me taking a risk, because that's personally what I thought would be different compared to like other series. Like I don't know, like I wanted to make a boring conversation into something that's like interesting to look at. So that's why I like change the art style, or I'll like have witty one-liners or something like that. So yeah, I try to like not get too into my head about like what it should be, and more like what I think would be different or unique. And I think about that every panel, where I'm like, can I tell this or show this in a different way that's not maybe so expected?
Yeah. I guess because another thing too, like for myself, like a big worry for me was like, well, now it's not really much there because I was encouraged by Fred, but like the fact that like Boneyard isn't like, it doesn't really have fantasy in it, you know. And so to be like the one like afternoon series that's like, oh, my main character's just a kid, he doesn't.
No, but that makes powers. It stand out.
Exactly, like that's what I was encouraged by.
I really like slice of life and like real life stories like that, and that makes it stand out.
But I remember like I was kind of worried. I'm like I'm not, you know, like I was like, oh, I don't have like this character who has like some kind of power, or like some kind of world that's, you know.
Your character went to school. Yeah, your character went to school, and I'm like, I don't know if I could think of another series recently in Saturday M or whatever that went to school. So, like, it's like something simple like that, where like I just like that it's based on reality because it feels fresh and like different in the magazines.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because that's what I was encouraged by it. Like I was like, yeah, you're right. You know, I want to stick to that. And that's the best part. Like earlier, I was saying, like initially, that's what I wanted. It was just I wanted it to be a story that's just in like the real world about these real kids, and then to be able to do that, and then like then have the encouragement, like, you know, it's like yours is gonna stick out because of that. And I'm like, dude, like that's that's more than I could ask for, because like that's what I kind of like, I'm glad that Boneyard could be
like
that.
Your vision is what it is.
Yeah. Because I think it was even Fred had said like something about like when pilot manga, when it was gonna launch and stuff, about how like, you know, like we're gonna grab the eyes from like these series, you know, and I think he had said something like the hope for Boneyard is like, you know, that's the one that once people are there, they're gonna see that, and that it is different, and that'll like keep them there, kind of thing, you know. And I was like, oh, that's cool, like where it's like because then that kind of like calmed a lot of some of my worries of like how will my series like kind of like help with like the whole group of Saturday afternoon like being like standing out on its own as its own like, group of stories.
We're all vastly different series too, which I think helps.
Yeah because, you know, like it's like, how are we gonna, because I was like, man, I feel like we're like the underdogs, like how are we gonna stand up like alongside, like we got the AM PM brunch, you know what I mean? And then I think like now it's I see it like more, I'm like, dang, yeah, we're afternoon, we're our own like kind of like part of the family, I guess, you know what I mean?
We them boys, we're the Saturday afternoon boys.
Oh man,
I feel like even like Fred and Austin know that like we're the boys. Until we get new members. And
we need them new members. And and not get picked on when I agree that what was it that Fred was like? He's like, you know, we should try and see if we could get any like female additions to the group. And I was like, I agree. And then he just like picked on me for that, because he's like, you're too excited about that. Oh man.
You had to be creepy about it, Ricardo.
I wasn't being creepy. I just said I agree.
I wasn't there, so
I know. But I remember, I think it was like the way I said, I'm like, I agree. And I guess like he was just like,
yes, oh my God, do it now. And then he's like, Ricardo, you're like at 13, you gotta take it down to like a 2.
No, but that's fun. But yeah, no, it's just been.
You did the Vivian thing.
No, I was just obsessed. Yeah, no. But that, yeah, it's just, man, it's been quite a journey so far, and man, I don't know, I'm just excited to see what happens with everyone, and I think the biggest thing right now with like Saturday Con, just like actually being like a guest at a con like that, like.
Which, by the way, I did the thing you told me to do, and I sent them the info to try and get the. They never said anything back to me about tickets or anything, or like what I'm supposed to do, or anything like that.
Yeah, I think eventually there will be like something sent out, because I think right now they're still just getting the.
Because you had me fill it out like a month ago.
Was it a month ago?
It feels like it.
I think it was like a week ago.
I know it was before we did the Kirk interview, so it was at least 2 weeks. So yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like they're like, I guess at some point they'll like send out like an email or something. But man, what? I'm trying to think of like.
But that was also to try and get if there are any questions with that from anybody in the audience that could possibly be trying to go and check out this event that they can go to for free, as far as I know.
! Saturday Con in the chat, and you'll get a link to fill out and get yourself some tickets. Yeah.
And just to make it easier on people, I'll put it in real quick.
And you can also go to pilotmanga.com to read Change the World and my series Boneyard, and we have a lot of other series on there from Saturday afternoon, and I want to try and get some of the other guys to be guests on this. And even beyond that,
I don't know, that means I'm gonna have to read more.
Yeah, I want to do that too. I want to get you and some other creators on my YouTube channel at some point. No clue what we'll talk about, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, doing like videos or streams where we're just working on art together, and somehow I don't know how we would like be able to like capture like everyone's like footage. How
Remember
would you
we talked? I'd use
no, not that. Wait, what are you talking about? You're talking about like
well, I was gonna say, you could screen share. It's fine if you're going in 30 frames per second or 30 frames on Discord, because you're gonna be like, it's art.
I mean, even now, like with this setup, it's technically 30 frames for us for our cameras, but
correct.
The rest of the stream is still at the 60. But
then it becomes even weirder because I've got the recording of all of us, which is also at 60. But
what the heck, dude? But yeah, I want to do that. I just want to, like while we're like working on stuff. But okay, here's the tough part with me, like to like stream while I'm like working. I don't want to. Like I don't want to show, like I don't want to show like spoilers. You know what I mean? Like if it's working on the series.
Yeah, I usually feel like it's fine to show stuff that you've already shown before. That's what I tend to do with my stuff. But if we were gonna do something on YouTube, I would probably have it be like an actual tutorial thing, like maybe just throwing the idea out there. It's not final, anybody, but like how to write a sports manga or something like that. But then like it would be like featuring Ricardo, the author of Boneyard. But like that's not the video we would do. I'm not saying that's the one we would do, but like that's how like the format would be. So
we're talking about basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Cricket.
I mean, I was thinking like, yeah, I mean that'd be fun. I mean, I don't know what it'd be if it were like a tutorial thing.
But yeah, streams are a little bit harder because then you probably will end up showing spoilers of pages you're working on.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
unless we all just make sure we're drawing promotional art or something.
Right. I think if we organize it that way, like, let's do like a promo piece.
Or like we all draw each other on stream or something, or each other's characters maybe.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, draw each other's characters. Yeah.
I say just get your whole crew together. Carl, get the whole crew together. Your whole like line of friends in there.
We could have done like a Secret Santa. It's a little late now.
Like Gartic Phone.
Yeah.
Like
Gartic Phone.
We could play Gartic Phone with Saturday afternoon creators or Saturday. Or,
yeah, true.
Dude.
Don't say it like it was your idea, Ricardo. That was my idea.
I know. No, I know, Jordan, it was your idea, but like, dude.
We all heard it.
My next YouTube video is Among Us, but with Saturday afternoon.
Oh, man. But I'm trying to think, like, okay. Going back to like, if it were a tutorial, I'm like, what's a tutorial of something that, like, it's like I know something that no one else knows. Like, I don't know.
If I had Ricardo teach me to do anything art related, it'd be backgrounds, because I still argue. I know Ricardo hates it, but Ricardo could be a great professional background artist. I think his backgrounds in like cityscapes and stuff always look phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a method that I've used that is used by like
It's called tracing.
What's his name? I mean, essentially that's involved.
Asano, are you talking about the Asano guy who did Poon Poon? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Photo, like take your own photographs of places.
Photo bashing, yes,
and then
sir.
And
it's not tracing.
It works though. But I mean, the thing is though, you do because you still have to ink.
Like,
you still have
to draw backgrounds though, Ricardo. You've done an amazing job.
Like no, you still have to ink it. That's the thing. Like panel 1, I still had to ink all of that. I still had to do the tones all myself and stuff. But like you still you're able to use like the actual photograph as like a base, so it looks like the actual place. And
I didn't get this camera for nothing. So I'm gonna use it for my background.
Exactly. And in this day and age, we even use smartphone cameras.
Yeah, for real.
I still have. You know what? Hold up, real quick.
I color in all of Ricardo's art and pretend like it's mine.
Right.
You know who's so good at backgrounds? Christina. Every time I see Christina post, I like lose my mind.
She is a queen, dude. I don't know how she does it, but
yeah.
When I've gotten a compliment from her, I'm like, sometimes I feel like saying, girl, shut up, you're better.
I'm like on God for real. But like when she shows up in my streams and I'm like, you supporting me, huh? Like,
legit though, this photo from on my phone of the corner store. So like it's like I could just use my phone and it works. Oh yeah, here's one where it's like the actual like side by side. That's not the actual photo that I used for the panel, but like it's still.
Yeah. That was the one you went and took the picture of.
Yeah. So it's like that's to be able to like, it's just a cool method that works and it looks so good. Like so that's why I'm like,
especially
I'm so
for a series like ours where it's like based on real life, kind of. I feel like that might not fly if you're doing a fantasy story. You might not be able to like.
No, you gotta do like your own like
inspiration. You gotta think of that on your own.
It's just like a subway in the middle of.
Because that's what's hard is then when it is like when it is a fantasy world, then I had I mean it's still a thing like so like the hallways inside the school in chapter 2 and the classrooms, like they're based off the actual like school there in East LA, but those especially during right now with like, you know, pandemic and all that, I couldn't just walk into the high school to take photos.
I mean, I feel like that's like generic enough where you can just draw it, you know? Like,
yeah. Like I still made sure that it looked like the actual hallways from the school, but it was still like, I mean, I had to draw that without that method. And even other things too, like learning just learn perspectives. Just learn to not be lazy with the, you know, with using like vanishing points, and
especially
if you don't have deadlines, like definitely learn perspective.
Carl, I can't draw freaking lines. Like I'll make a squiggle.
Use a ruler.
I've tried to. I used to when I was younger. I always thought I wanted to draw. Throughout middle school, I made comics. They all were garbage tier crap, but I made them. And it was even like the outlines of where I was drawing are just like, you know, like I just couldn't.
Yeah.
But I still always tried because I always loved to draw. It's always been fun. I just, I know I would never do it in like the same realm of you guys of like, look, I made a manga. I'd be like, look, I made a star thing.
It's like, I feel like we've all been there though. Like I've definitely shown people like really bad comics like back in like elementary or middle school, and I'm like, look what I made.
Yeah.
And like people thought that was cool, and like looking back, it was bad.
Yeah, I did that, dude. I had a comic of my like classmates where they like they found a thing where they turned into like superheroes or whatever, but then like
that was what mine pretty much was too.
Here's the thing though, the creatures that they would fight and stuff they were called cuckoos because, you know, that's how creative I was. Cuckoos.
They're like chickens?
No. They're like these weird shadowy creatures, almost like they're inspired by something I was into. I wonder what. It's not like
doesn't come to me at all, Ricardo.
Yeah, no, some shadowy creatures and
that could come to mind.
Some shadowy creature that has, you know, darkness.
Yeah, you just didn't have enough heart when you were making the comic, Ricardo. That's
no, you know,
it was such a heartless series.
Yeah, I was just too busy with like, you know, trying to find the kingdom, and I don't know what I'm doing.
The point is, he ripped off Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at.
And legit, even there were times where I'll like redraw like a panel from the Kingdom Hearts manga because I'm like, hey, what if they went to? It ended up becoming Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
They went.
What if Sora had Ricardo's beard?
They literally. I didn't have a beard back. I didn't have a beard in 7th grade.
Are you sure? Because
No.
He was born with a beard.
Yeah.
Maybe I
don't know. I met Ricardo like 6 years ago, and then you had a crazy beard.
Ugh, I hated that. Now I hate it. Like looking back, that beard was nasty.
The fact it was like all up in your microphone is the nasty part.
It's so gross. It was like
it was
right here.
So gross looking. Yeah, well, there's like the part where you have the picture where it's like wrapped around your mic.
Oh yeah, that was that like that was that podcast thingy. Yeah, it was. Ugh. I can't. Why did I walk around with that? What was gross too is that like my mustache, I guess, was still not as thick, so it was like this nasty, like this pencil line, and then this huge nasty beard, and like dude, it's gross. It's just wrong.
I shaved all this off after last time because I started complaining about my beard was getting too long last time we talked, and I was like, get rid of it before the podcast.
I mean, yeah, it works. Yeah, I think we all look good. We're beautiful people.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't Marilyn Manson me.
What does that mean? Oh. No, what does that mean?
Beautiful people.
Oh. Right.
It was a music reference, Ricardo.
Yeah, I know music. And a
shout
lot of it. Just shout out to whatever artist.
Just whoever.
Yeah. Man. So what outside of making comics, I assume, I mean, I already know, but I'm saying I assume because it would appease or it would help the audience sympathize if they don't know.
Here's how you add filler to a question.
Michael, you watch anime.
What's anime?
Oh, dude. Okay, we're canceled. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
It's that guy who walks on the big.
Yeah. Sadly, I've seen over 400.
Well, no, that makes sense. What?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. What are your what's your top 3? Okay, no, top 5.
Why is it?
Top 5. See, this is a hard question all the time. I even have a Twitch command or a YouTube command that has fill-in answers because I always have to think about this. But
that's good.
It depends on the season for me because I tend to watch them as they come out. But top 5 as of right now, I'll try and pick some from different genres. So for shonen, I think Dr. Stone is my favorite shonen right now. I think my favorite shoujo series is Nana still, and then I really like School Rumble is a gag series that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, hear what I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more. I'll appease the fans. Attack on Titan's manga, that's a good one.
I know that one.
And fifth one. Are we talking about manga or anime?
Anime.
Oh, okay. There was this series that just came out like last season. I think it was called Vivi Fluorite Eye Song, and it was done by Studio. I think it was Mappa that did it.
Okay.
And it was really slept on. Like no one ever talked about this series, but it was so good. And it's an anime original, which was surprising. But yeah, I guess Steins Gate's another favorite.
Okay.
Code Geass. Yeah, I can go all day about anime.
Have you seen? I think it's called Yakutate Japan, about making bread. It's like a comedy type series I was watching. Actually, my girlfriend and I were in New Jersey, like hanging out with some friends, and we met somebody there, and he's like, "This is a series I've been watching," so we put it on. We kind of just watched it, and we're like, "All right, we have to watch more of this," because it is just it's really goofy, but it's also his whole dream is he wants to be this. He wants to make because everybody like the baguette is the bread of France, and like it's like all these different global breads. And he's like, Japan doesn't have a bread, so I want to be the one to invent the Japan bread. So the whole series is about him. Like it's like just a giant Royal Rumble, but of making bread. But it gets completely insane, and there's just all kinds of and for a lot I didn't really know when we first started, but I actually really like that series. So I advise it as somebody who doesn't watch a lot of anime.
What you watch
just like anime? Nowhere illegal. No.
That's a good answer.
No. So actually, when we first started, he had something for it. I think he actually had it was either a DVD or a CD that had it burned on it. I'm not sure, but I think he had a DVD.
That's amazing.
After that, 1,000% illegal watching online. I mean, legally.
Crunchyroll.
This is brought to you by Funimation.
Yeah. He was at the pre-screening.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the copy.
It was in the theater.
There are a lot of anime that exist.
Yeah, I like when people ask me specific questions, like what's your favorite shonen or romance or one that came out recently or like stuff like that. Because it's easier to answer a little bit.
Let's say. Okay, how about this? What let's see, anime based on a manga published by
3 people
Jump.
who have 2 cats. Oh.
What is of those? If they're shonen, okay, let's shonen. Okay, they were in Jump.
Are you going to keep saying stuff till he says Dragon Ball Z?
And what is your favorite? What's your top? Top 3? That's a lot.
Ricardo's had a stroke.
I have my top 2. I'm struggling on my third. My top 1 will probably be Haikyuu. I think the manga is phenomenal, but like paired with like the animation and the music, that like takes it to a whole nother level. And I think the same argument can be made for My Hero Academia.
Okay.
Where the manga is really good, but like hearing like the soundtrack play, that's one of my favorite soundtracks.
And the same composer too. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, I saw it. I had the tickets for Anime NYC to see the My Hero
that's
Academia
right.
concert.
Yeah, that's right. They were doing that.
They were doing that. But and then I guess I want to say Dr. Stone because I really enjoyed the 2 seasons of Dr. Stone, and that was one of the shows where I was like, I should just stick anime only for this because I'm enjoying it so much. But I didn't know if season 3 was coming out anytime soon, so I just started reading the manga. But both are phenomenal, and I think the anime did a great job.
Fair.
What about you?
Top 3 should I watch My Hero?
Jordan, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or try the anime if even for like the.
Well, yeah, because I generally don't read manga. I tried. I didn't
for the because the way it opens, it really that's what captured me. That's where it really got me.
The first 2 episodes, especially, I think were super well done.
Yeah, like with the music and everything, like that.
Yeah,
it actually made me tear up. Like I
cried a few times watching My Hero first season
because I was immediately hooked at that.
I don't dislike anime. I just don't go out of my way to find anime. If I find one that I like, I'll be like, yeah, I'll watch that because I don't really think of it as like.
My only footnote with My Hero Academia would be is it's ongoing. So like, if you end up enjoying it and get into the current season, it's going to be like at a bad spot because the next season's coming out and the movie just came out. So you got to wait for more. So that's when I would say just go to the manga if you get to the point where you got to finish it. But
got it.
Starting it, I think you should definitely start it, but just know that it's not finished.
But
I generally end up if I do see stuff, it's way after. Like the last thing I just watched was Classroom Assassin.
Oh, okay. Or Assassination Classroom?
Assassination Classroom, sorry, yeah.
So good.
And I watched through both seasons of that, and I was like...
I cried. It was so good.
I didn't because I'm a manly man. I peed on my face.
Shut up, Jordan. You're a crier.
It was me. It was me, Ricardo.
I cried because I'm a manly man.
No, yeah, I absolutely cried.
Get back in there.
Ricardo knows I'm also a sensitive crier. If it's like sad stuff, I'm generally all right. But if it's something that's like heartwarming, then I lose it.
That's why
it's the music that gets me. Like, Haikyuu got me when the music, like during some of the scenes.
But like that's why, for both Haikyuu and My Hero, like for real, like the music very like it just does this good thing of like swelling at the right moments to then like having the oh my gosh, the emotional just like so good.
That's about to be the Simpsons theme.
No. It just
yeah.
No. It's different.
I think I knew the exact. I was thinking about that one exact scene from season 2 when you were doing that, and I was like getting emotional. I think that's where that song played that you were humming.
Wait, which season 2 of My Hero?
Yeah, during the tournament arc.
Okay, okay. Yeah, there's also the.
I was singing that song a few times though.
I was thinking in like in season 1, the moment in like one of the first 2 episodes where I'm just the moment that like makes you say, okay, I'm here for this is the one. I won't say anything, but like that's where I'm like, yeah, that's why I want to follow this character and see what happens. Or whatever, and just like, I mean, no show's perfect, but like it's still it really hits hard when the music starts going, and then you have I think
it's still on Netflix, right?
It might be,
because I just realized I think that was where I was going to watch it.
Either Netflix or Hulu. I know it's for sure still on Hulu.
Yeah, I think it's Hulu.
My sister's got like subscriptions to everything, so.
But yeah, man. Oh, okay. So outside of anime, what other forms of media do you intake, Michael? It's a weird phrasing, but I'm going with it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask him about like other hobbies outside of art and manga and anime.
Well, yeah. As far as like other media goes, I'm pretty big on rom-coms that are very trashy, like on Netflix.
Okay.
So me and my sister have this tradition where every day we'll eat dinner and watch a trashy rom-com movie or something. So I've had my fair share of bad romance movies, but I always have a great discussion with like the girls in my class when they're talking about something that was on Netflix. I'm like, yeah, I've seen Kissing Booth 1 through 3, but but yeah, like hobbies outside of like comics and manga. I do watch sports too. I fell off a little bit during COVID, but I was really big on the NBA for a while.
Favorite team?
Favorite team? See, I have to represent the Sixers because that's where I'm from. But like, I've always liked the San Antonio Spurs.
I'm leaving.
No, it's the correct answer is the 2001 to 2003 LA Lakers.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, I like the Spurs when it was Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, that like era. And when they got Leonard, it was pretty cool too. I always like the Spurs, but
I don't even know who plays Pacers anymore.
Oh, poor Jordan.
My Indiana teams aren't known.
Poor Jordan. Well, you mean the Lakers with the blue P?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like they have something wrong with them. They have a blue P.
Yeah. I just remember falling off of it during when the pandemic hit because every player was sitting out, the audiences stopped coming. Right. And then at one point they started having all those crazy trades, like Kevin Durant left, James, every player started leaving. And then when I was finally starting to get back into it again, when like things were calming down a little bit, I was like, things are too different.
Who are you people?
Yeah, like so I fell out of it a little bit. But maybe I'll probably try and get back into it at some point. But
right, nice.
Outside of like other hobbies was the next part of the question. So yeah, I've done photography for a few years. I plug my account sometimes on my Instagram, but I do photography. I do like live streaming. That's another thing. I used to like playing video games a lot. I used to be an Xbox kid, but I haven't played any video games recently. But I do like watching games and like looking up people playing different games that come out. I played volleyball in high school, and I really enjoyed that. Haikyuu got me into volleyball.
That's dope.
But yeah, I played volleyball for like 3 years in high school, so that was cool. I did boxing because of Hajime no Ippo, as you do.
Oh my goodness, bro!
I played basketball like every day after school because of Kuroko's no basketball.
You're just a weeb, is what you're saying. I'm kidding.
Nah, but it's funny because like you become friends with all like the jocks and all that like play the sports, but they don't know the reason that I'm there. But it's like I'm there because I've seen like superpowers of basketballs. But yeah.
You should play Halo Infinite with us. Just throwing that out there.
Oh my god, I was so into Halo. I used to play Halo Reach and Halo 2 all the time.
Oh, the best one, Halo 2.
Yeah, Halo 2 was so good.
Halo 2 is fantastic. Halo 3, I got way too into competitively.
Yeah, I like Halo Reach's story mode. That's what like stood out for me.
Halo Reach is fun. Halo 2 and 3 are my favorites, and then Halo Infinite is the first time we've gotten to a Halo game where I've been enjoying it again.
Is that what system is it on? Is it like PC?
It's on PC and Xbox.
Xbox One and the Xbox S or whatever it is.
I do got a PC. Yeah.
And the multiplayer is free.
Yep. Halo Infinite multiplayer.
That's crazy. I don't have to buy an Xbox membership. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've all been playing. Oh, and today is the start of the Christmas event. They're doing a winter event right now. Where you can unlock peppermint style armor.
Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Oh, dude.
And I think you'll have to get to like level 2 in it, so it's like you play like a few things and you're done.
That's so good because the last one was too much.
My last like console was an Xbox One, so I fell off after Halo 4. But I think Halo 5 came out. I don't know if Halo 6 came out, but
Halo Infinite's basically
Infinite
6.
is 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Infinite is
I
6.
I did miss Halo 5, but
that's okay. You don't have to play that. Don't play 5. Don't play 5.
I played ODST, so like through PEMDAS or like process of elimination, I think that cancels out.
ODST. I loved ODST.
I like the idea of it. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, you're like, oh crap, I'm just an ODST soldier, and there's this giant city, and like it's like really gloomy. The music's a lot more just like somber, and like all these enemies seem huge. Like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's really
I used to think the silencers were so cool. The silence weapons.
They added that on Master Chief Collection to Halo 3. They added the Commando SMG and stuff that's on in Halo 3 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's funny when you say.
Sorry, we're gonna start talking about Halo.
No. It's good. It was natural. I mean, no, it's good. I'm just saying, like, but yeah, dude, like going back to Haikyuu though, because you're talking about how like that got you into volleyball. It's funny because I've only played volleyball like at a beach, like maybe like twice in my life.
Beach volleyball's hard,
and so I like wasn't that attached to the sport. But there's something to be said when that anime, like, made me hyped for this sport that I hardly know anything about, and I'm like there cheering in my seat, like popping off, like getting up from my chair and being like, yeah, like this is, are you serious? Like, you know, like actually being into the sport. So like,
did you
that's
see the Olympics? They like acknowledged it.
Yeah, they played music.
Volleyball. Yeah, Japan said like their volleyball rates like really went up from like that show promoting it. Like students playing it. So that's really cool.
And there's a lot of crazy videos now. It's kind of like what happened with like when the Tony Hawk games came out, and a lot of kids started doing the tricks from the games, and that kind of like
anime.
Yeah, and that kind of like like did like this, like reignited like the spark in the sport of skating. Yeah. So like with volleyball, like I've been seeing a lot of videos now of these kids doing like crazy jumps and like crazy spikes, like if they're freaking Hinata themselves. Like what
the Tony Hawk games let me know I wasn't a skater. That was when I learned I wasn't gonna.
It's like really popular right now in the reaction scene. I don't know if you watch anybody like react to anime, but they it's like Olympic volleyball players react to Haikyuu, and like volleyball coaches give feedback on Haikyuu, and it's like that whole like niche exists now of people like using Haikyuu with real volleyball. So it's pretty cool, like that overlap.
It's so cool. But yeah, because you just reminded me of that when you mentioned that. I'm like, dude, that's so that's why I recommend that series as well.
And now you're gonna get everybody in the bones.
That'd be cool. I mean, okay, so I know I'm not gonna say anything. Chapter 3, just when it comes out.
It's weird as somebody that played Mexican Train seeing how similar the two games are.
It's very there are definitely differences because like.
Well, it's the way that
Chapter
you
3
start.
when it comes out.
Yeah, it's the way that I think the way you start the train, because with the actual and Mexican trains, you do it based on, like, it starts on, I think, 9, and then the next time you all do it around, then the next round it starts on 8.
Yeah, because that's why that uses the nine dotted dominoes. Bones is
it counts down.
Yeah, Bones, the highest you go is the double 6, and then the other name for it is all 5s, because you're only counting the multiples of 5 that are the sum of the dots on the outside of the whole board once the dominoes are all laid. So like if there's like the 3 and a 2 on the outside, then that counts as 5, so you get 5 points. It's all 5s. And then but yeah, it's a like you I guess you attach them similarly, like, you know, like connect them similarly, but it's like it's its own game that's like read chapter 3 when it comes out, because like it'll be more explained there and it'll be fun, hopefully, because like that's the thing, like I mean, I don't know, we'll see. I'm excited for like the reception of that and see like if it does get people into wanting to play dominoes. I know a few people messaged me and said, oh, I want to play dominoes. Like even some friends are like, hey, when can we hang out so you could teach me how to play and stuff like that. And
It's like when Squid Games came out, and my nephew was right up to me. He's like, "Hey, how do you play marbles?" I was like, like the way they used to play marbles. You get a big circle, you flip it in, and you have to knock them out.
Yeah.
And I was like, then I'm, see all this other stuff with Squid Games. I'm like, oh, okay, there's 4,000 games you can play with marbles if you just want to play with marbles.
Yeah, so it's just we'll see. I mean, that'd be cool. Yeah. Like I definitely, my goal is to have people kind of like experience like the feeling that I did when I played it, or when I do play it, because it does get intense, and it's fun, and even just how it's represented, or even playing around with some visual ideas in chapter 3. I'm excited for people to see that.
Erin, she's the one we played Mexican Trains with. She's super into domino. She gets super try hard competitive mode.
That's how you have to play. Like when you play Bones, it's sort of like this unspoken, like an unspoken like rule is you gotta play your Bones like you mean it. Like you gotta slam them. You gotta slam those, or you gotta slap Bones. You really like bring them down the table. All right, you don't just clack. Like there's the clack because that's the sound they make, but when you lay it down, you lay it down, and you let people know. There's a lot of trash talking too, but that'll come later. But what I'm saying is like you will. My hope is that you feel the impact that is there when you do play a game with people, and it's so fun, it's so satisfying because of the clacking, but even just like you'll like somebody like your friend will like play a domino, and then you could just play off of that and be like, ha, you just gave me 5 points, sucker. Like it's fun, and but yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know, but I'm excited for just oh man, just to see what happens with everyone's series in Afternoon. Like, dude, like what? I keep going back to Saturday.
If you keep getting the guests, I'm going to end up having to read everybody's, and that's going to suck.
It's going to be awesome.
Because the problem is if I end up liking them all, then I'm going to be like, I'm going to feel invested. I'm going to have to read all of them. So I have to keep like going back and be like, crap, I was on like episode 4 of this person's, like 2 on this one.
Then he's got to wait like a month or 2 for releases.
Yeah,
bro, but like
I guess like
I mean, I want.
Then if I become friends with everybody, then I'd be like, now I got to trick them all to play Halo Infinite with me as well.
But not all of them have the ability to.
Yeah, but I'm still going to tell everybody to play Halo with me.
Oh man, yeah, I mean, oh man, imagine like having to talk to like, dude, talking with Nathaniel, that's gonna be tough. Like, I don't know, I can't tell when he's being sarcastic or not because he's so Canadian.
I know. I read his comic, and I was like, I don't get that energy when I'm talking to him in the group chat. Like,
but then when he says some things, I'm like, I get it. It does come from this guy. Like, there was something he said. I don't know if it was like I forgot which meeting it was, where like he said something like his response. I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes sense. No wonder why Brick is from him. Like,
yeah,
because that series is funny. Like the first chapter being like,
it was so creative how it's called pilot
chapter, and it's literally he's trying to be a pilot, and the dialogue. Thank you for your service.
I regularly talk about that, even with people who don't know anything about like comics or Saturday Night or manga. I'm just like, look at this Brick.
Yeah,
I was like, he's like in a plane.
Did you see his Christmas his artwork, the promo piece? He's wrapped up, and then you swipe, and the next.
I drew artwork. I drew artwork of all of our characters in Christmas outfits. I don't know if it's going to get posted or when it's going to get posted, but
yeah, I drew a new thing. I have to probably change up. Like, I don't know. I don't like how some of the colors worked for like the background of the thing I drew, but for sure. Like, yeah, I want to make like a special thing. Probably have to like work on it tomorrow, but dude, it's just yeah, this is crazy. Like, this is insane to actually be here. Because again, okay, so Bakuman, what's crazy about that is that it came out during a time where the main characters were the same age that me and my best friend were at the time. and we were both no Ray, and then and we were both we were both like dreaming of making a manga together, like him the writer and me the artist.
Mhm.
And so Bakuman was like this almost like it was like autobiographical. Like it just felt so, I'm like, dude, this is us. And so like that easily became like, I mean, it still is my favorite manga series. Right either tied with or right above Death Note, which is ironic because it's the same creators. Like, but yeah, Bakuman is just it's
I've only
such a
seen the
good
anime,
story.
but I like Bakuman.
Yeah, it's really good.
I try to imagine what it would be like to experience Bakuman, either the manga or the anime, if you're not interested in art or you're not interested in making manga. Like, I have no clue what like a general audience would just think of it.
Well, Jordan, as somebody who doesn't draw or wasn't into like making manga, like
like I said, I've always, when I was younger, I always wanted to make comics. I like even now, if I could, I think it'd be really cool to make comic books. I always thought that'd be a really cool thing to pursue, but I just didn't. It's not something I do.
No, yeah, music's your thing.
So, well, yeah, that too. But just I have all kinds of things I like to do.
Yeah.
Like writing, and I like music and game, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess looking at it from the outside point, I would really like just the idea of as these two people that are following a dream that they want, and I think you can kind of attribute that to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could be like me and my buddies, and we're gonna go and start another band, and we're gonna go and perform in all these places, and it's kind of following the same thing just through a different lens.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the same concept of here's people following their dreams and they're working at it and making it work. What blew my mind is when they start bringing in random people to like ink for, and they're like, "Oh, you girl on the street, you can ink." And I was like, I guess anybody could do it.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's the thing too, where it really opened your eyes in like the actual like process of it, of like you, or the I guess the inside thing of like of how the industry works with it, and like
that's
how they get because they get assistance. We don't have assistance.
Well, I would say was that as accurate as
it's our benefits.
That's yeah.
That is the thing. I would rather write a series more so than draw it, though. Like I've preferred writing over even most things like that. I would like to direct. I think that would be fun, or even like film. But in terms of like making it, I'd prefer writing it over drawing it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the fun part. Like being able to like do, or having, I guess, because we have to like do all of it, including the writing, where it's like in that learning what I wasn't good at before with writing, and then like learning how to do that better, and then likewise the art, then learning how to do that better. And like it's just both, like everything kind of like forces you, because we don't have a team, we don't have assistants, it kind of like forces us to like get better at the things that we do know how to do and have to do by ourselves. Like we have to be our own letterers, we got to learn how to do that. We have to be our own
we're social media marketers, we're camera directors, graphic designers,
we have to do that. Exactly.
Anchors, storyboarders,
exactly. And so it's just,
there's a time to acknowledge the chat. There you go. 3D model your next comic. I'd have to do something stupid like that if I wanted to make a series like that. Like I'd probably have to go into something and make an entire machinima, and then I would trace that or take pictures of it and put that in. Or
get what's it called?
Ricardo, there was a series, I'm not going to say what it was, but there was a musical type series I was going to do the one time. Remember, it was that you were at one point thinking about doing art for it. And I was just writing it out, and I had music for it. But I went into Minecraft originally, if you remember this, and I took a bunch of shots of how in my mind the visuals would look by just like green screening characters around. And I took pictures. I was like, it looks like this, but in art.
That's actually a good idea, though. Like I know people that use The Sims to like make their backgrounds. They like design their houses and like character houses and stuff. And then some people use like not Unreal Engine, but like similar like software like that to like 3D model.
And in the chat, yeah, absolutely. I totally do understand, because that's what I was going to say. I was using that as as just like a PowerPoint of like, Ricardo, the visuals need to look like this, but don't make it Minecraft characters.
There's also that one tool in, I think, Blender that lets you just draw on it, and like I saw an animator like work on that and use that and kind of like showcase how it really helps you composite it like almost immediately because you're in like a 3D space, so you could have your background layered on with the 2D animation if you needed.
Blender has become such a crazy like platform, just because it started, you know, as like a sculpting, and then it's like now it's sculpting, it's editing, it's VFX, it's art, like the actual just drawing part, it's compositing, it's got everything.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Like I have a friend of mine who is.
I sent you that CGI movie that was made completely in Blender. It's insane.
Yeah, there's that
Pixar film.
Yeah, and then there's I have a friend of mine who's gonna be testing out something, and he's actually gonna be modeling for me Manny's bedroom from chapter 1, and to like try and see how it would look if it were like, then he would try to like make it look like it's like a cell shaded, but like still like look like it has like tones like and grayscale like if it were from the page. But
I think that gives you a better idea of what it's like to, like, if you think of when you came out here to visit, Ricardo, how different my room probably looks like this opposed to when you were actually here.
Yeah, like I know, because I know what like the space actually is from your chair to the bed right there, and it's it's just funny to like see now the perspective of like, oh, this is just like a flat background, but knowing what it actually is there
with a random cup right here on the dresser.
Yeah,
it's been bothering me.
Ricardo, what are you doing for world building? So like, are you making maps of the neighborhood, or like, do you have like certain locations like planned out that you know that you want your characters to visit?
So there are specific locations in the area of East LA that it's mostly based around. It's called Boyle Heights, and there are a lot of places that I know from like being there because my family. I still have some family that live there as well, and also just like having been there so many times, and like and then even help from like just knowing of places, because like family, like having been there, like driving around places that my family have lived at and everything. And I have like I definitely have like a list of places that will be visited, and there's even like some landmarks, like places that are famous for being, oh, that's East LA. Like even earlier when I was talking about the movie Blood In Blood Out, there's a specific scene, or a few scenes actually, take place at this one landmark that everybody knows of from like East LA and everything. And that's how the character, like that's how he kind of, like when he came back out of prison to East LA, that was the spot he went to, because it's like that's how you kind of like identify and be like, yeah, I'm home. I'm finally home, because this is the East LA landmark. So like that place will probably be featured and is actually on the artwork that's in the like the banner thing in on Pilot Manga. So I don't like so the map that I have would literally be Google Maps, I guess, because it's going to be the actual area, you know. Because even like that Malabar Market, like right by there is a restaurant that is like well known, and that's going to be, I would like to have that be in Boneyard eventually, because it'd be really cool to acknowledge that, and to also kind of like for people who don't know, like to let them know that this place exists, you know. Because I think that's the fun of it too, is like kind of, I guess, introducing these areas to people that are reading it and being like, hey, this place you can actually go to, you know. And what about you though? Like what, because I know you said you based it off of like there's like a place in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, I was sweating over here when you were saying Google Map. I'm like, that's a good idea. I should probably think of something like that, because like, I think I mentioned this before in one of the meetings that the first 3 chapters are all on the same day, so they all take place inside the house.
Dude,
so
that's tough.
Outside of the house. Yeah, I got to get them outside of the house in chapter 4. So now I got to think about what's outside the front door. So I gotta like I think I'm gonna make a map, because my like city is fictional, but I need to figure out like how to make a believable city. With like the locations that I need them to go to. So I guess I should look at Google Maps and see how like an actual neighborhood
that'd be
like,
dude,
set up.
Yeah, because that's what exactly with like Boneyard. I was kind of worried, because it's like, okay, chapter 1, like they're outside for a bit, but it's like you have a little bit of an idea of like how the neighborhood might look like, but it's still like just really maybe like 2 locations because it's kind of like skipping around. Like
I kept
Them
mine very
running from the
vague
gas
in chapter
station,
1.
though. I see that and I'm like, that's California. There's so many things in like movies and shows where you see like all the weird, like the fences on the side, and, like the little spaces. Like it's not big enough to be New York. That's California.
oh, that was
like,
that was a school. You thought it was a gas station?
no. I'm just gas station. What?
Oh wait,
No,
wait.
just the
When they're
I see.
running
No,
from-
what they like robbed from the convenience store or whatever.
Oh,
I just
I
refer
get what
to it
you're
as a
saying.
gas station rather than a convenience store.
Oh
but
yeah. So like they just kind of get like the layout, like because that's why it's called Boyle Heights. Like when there are like hills and hills, and so that's why I wanted to really like make it feel like that. So then the that like double page spread where like they're running up the hill, like I wanted to give that feeling like no, when you go down these hills, they're hills, but they're like it's like on it's a street and you have the houses on both sides. And but yeah, I was kind of worried about that, like with the later half of the chapter where it's still just in the same house. I'm like, how can I make it look like it's the same house? And you have to like be consistent. Like there has to be like the continuity, you know, of like from panel to panel, like it's the same space. You know what I mean? And I think that's the scariest part. It's like, no, this is the same living room. It's the same couch.
Thankfully, I made my first chapter when they just moved in, so I made the
it's
house
just
empty.
house.
For the first three chapters,
Good.
it's empty. It's just an empty floor and a blank wall.
It's so clever, dude. I wish I was that smart.
And then maybe in the next chapter, in like 4, it'll already be set up. Like I think in chapter 2, there's only a couch in the middle of the floor because the dad's sitting on it. But like, there's like nothing in the house for like the first 3 chapters.
That's
so
so
the
clever.
area you were talking about in like Philly, is that based on like the area with like all the historical stuff?
Yeah, it's called downtown Philly / Center City. Yeah.
So whenever we went to New Jersey, New York, basically we saw all of our friends on the East Coast, which is a pretty far drive from the Midwest where I live. We ended up going and checking out like the Liberty Bell and all the stuff around there too. So we went to Philly. Most bizarre place I've ever been. It was weird because everywhere around it seemed like it was like wants to be ghetto type area, and then we get to the main area. It's like, oh, this part's nice, and I'd kind of just be walking, and then all of a sudden there were like some parts that were like blocked off outside of the. So it's like because this big nice city area with all this historical stuff and there's artistic stuff and things everywhere, and then a block off spot. I'm like, oh, what's out there? Like, you don't want to go out there.
Gentrification would do that to the city.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, what do you mean I don't want to go out there? Like, trust me, it's dangerous. You don't want to. And I was like, all right. It's like an island in the middle of what they're trying to tell me is this giant ghetto of like, it's like everywhere in Philly is apparently a ghetto except for these like 4 buildings is what they're telling me. And I'm just like,
we got this university that's really well known called Temple University, which is in like the heart of Philly. And it's safe. It's safe on campus, but everyone will always say, don't go a block away from campus, like in either direction. Just stay on campus. Like, so people are always scared because it's just the vast difference between being on the campus street and not being on the campus street.
And that was kind of how other parts were too, because they're like, oh no, you don't want to go that way either, because they're like, this part's nice and everything's cool, but you go 3 blocks, there were 7 people shot there this morning. Like, what do you mean?
Of course. Yeah.
I was like, you can't just say that like that's chill, and then there's this one tiny fence that's like 4 inches long, and this is the safe side. If there's a gun, they're gonna shoot across it. Like,
no, there's a force field.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently it's an island, and everywhere around it is the dangerous, scary zone. That everyone tells you don't go there.
Yeah.
So it's like the most bizarre, and again, from somebody in the American Midwest, obviously not the flyover part. We have a big city area, but it's nothing like. Yeah. We don't have don't go in that area. Don't go north, south, east, or west. It's like, how do I leave?
The only thing you got is just like it's just like the rivalry of like.
Yeah. It's like, you guys gonna pair-drop me in and out? What are you doing? Yeah, we just have like west and east side.
Yeah, just that's the funniest part to me. It's like no, it's a nice, safe, city town.
Well, because it's not like a gang setup. It's just they hate
it. It's like, but if you're from that side, you're stupid.
Yeah. Ours are like insult gangs more than anything. We have a south side that people know not to really go to, but that's like it. Like we don't have a you're not allowed to go any other direction because it's dangerous and you'll get shot.
Man, that's funny, man.
Even like when we're in New York City, it's like just don't go here at nighttime and don't go in the weird creepy alleyways. It's like perfect.
You'll be fine because Spider-Man will be there.
It's like these like 4 blocks are fine. Everywhere else you'll get shot in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And there were people just telling us that. I don't know if it's they live in this really nice place, so they're just afraid of everything else, or if Philly's just terrifying everywhere else.
Man.
But it was definitely, it was bizarre seeing how people were reacted about that.
Because it's just such a small area, and it's like, that's all you got. You can't leave this.
Yeah, it seemed surreal. Like, it seemed like I was being pranked.
It's funny. But yeah. Man. So.
And that's my review of Philadelphia. That's my TED Talk.
But yeah, it's well, because we got there because the like making maps of like the areas.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just interesting, like to have to like think about the actual like, because it's so weird with like world building when it's like the actual like an actual place, you know, where it's like I can't make up things that don't exist, like, and I don't want to, like, I want it to be like the actual place. So it's like, well,
do you have like a time? Like, is this like
right
East LA in like the 90s or East LA modern, or?
So that's where I am. What I'm trying to do is trying to do like the ambiguous present day. You know what I mean? That's my goal. But like,
because there's buildings that will appear and disappear between.
Right. And it's kind of what makes that kind of difficult is that, I guess it's that, like, that, you know, it's changing in the real world. But then what is helpful is that it'll hopefully make characters relatable, you know? Where like but at the same time, I mean, there's obviously, you know, it can't be like 90s when like we see Manny using a smartphone, you know? But
unless it's Gotham City, in which case you can have it touching Metropolis, where Metropolis has lasers and Gotham has Tommy guns.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. Yeah, that's true. And like, like it's like you have the Gothic architecture in Gotham, and then like Art Deco, like
like super
like,
Sims
nice.
2000.
Yeah.
Or SimCity 2000.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess like, yeah, no, it's just, I guess, ambiguous present day, but like there will be my plans. Like, I mean, I guess there will be like noticeable like
how do you think about topical things? Like sometimes I want to use like a meme or like a saying that's like popular right now, but I don't want my story to be dated if like someone reads it a year later.
That's always a worry with writing anything. Yeah, because the second you do something like that in like 4 years, you're like, oh, ew.
Because I don't know if any of you have ever seen the series or read the manga Lucky Star, but
I've heard
it was really long. But it was very it was very topical. Like it was a comedy series, but like as it was coming out, it was really funny because they used like the memes that were popular then, or like the sayings then, and like what was going on in the world then. But like looking back, people don't review it that well because it's like dated stuff. But when it was coming out and publishing, that's when it had a huge fan base. But it's probably not something you can go back and watch later and enjoy it as much.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think.
I think if you can hint at it in a creative way where people now will be like, ha, I get it. And then people in the future will be like, oh, that was a funny joke without knowing it. I think that's like a safe way to try and get around it. But if there's like something specific, I'm not sure on how to go about it.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything
it'll be mixed criticism. I guess you got to think long-term if you're planning on this being an ongoing series that you still want people to get into.
I guess in Boneyard's case, like slang and stuff like that, like would slang go out of date?
And that's the good thing is that for the most part, especially within like that area of like East LA or even just in LA, like a lot of things are just have never died off in some slang, like but even then, like even some sayings that are like Spanish sayings that are definitely just they've always been around. Like so like there's a part where like the store owner is like yelling at Fat Boy because he ran off with the chips, and he's like and he's yelling, but then Manny kind of like his response is "O que la canción," like that's a saying that's just always, I think, is always going to be around. And then like that miraculous stroke I talked about earlier, like that, I think that'll still work years from now, because I think it's still going to be relevant and like used. But I'm definitely like, I think I have tried to stay away from like I'm trying to think
Like you're not gonna have Manny say Pog.
Right. No. Yeah, no. He's not gonna say
he's got
Pog.
like the 90s toy. He's got the little disc. He's like, look, I got Pogs.
He got a Pog, yeah. No, that's the workaround. No, he's not gonna say something like that, or like say something like I don't know, what would be another thing like.
I'm scared like to ever write something like, oh, that's lit, or like something like
right,
that.
Yeah.
That like goes out of fashion like after a year or two, maybe.
I feel like some things like that, I mean, if you really want to go to it, it kind of will be a staple of the time, because besides the fact stuff like comedy changes, it's always a weird topic to go into, but there's words that you just, as time passes, start becoming, you don't say those words that you said like 5 years ago and it was fine.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's one of those things, like there's certain shows you can watch and it's like 2008 era and you're like, ugh, you know, back then that was funny, but now you hear the words now and you're like, no. And that's like stuff that's recent, because you can go back and watch the 60s and you're like, oh yeah, definitely. But like whenever it's stuff that's like in the last like 6 years and you hear a word and you're like, oh man, that was funny. And now it's like, now you can't say that anymore. I feel like you're going to be about the same boat regardless if you use those or not. So if you want it to be modern, I say just use it. Use the term lit if you.
I think to the point of what was just said in the chat, art is subjected to the time it's made. I think I don't have a say in like what will, obviously, like there will be things in it that will definitely be like noticeable, like, oh, that's of that time. Like you think back in like the original Star Wars trilogy, they said a lot of phrases and said things in certain ways. Definitely 70s.
Yeah, because that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They said old people stuff.
No, but like it was definitely like from like the 70s, like some of the dialogue choices.
Absolutely.
So like even thinking of like I can't help it, but like it's gonna happen, or it has happened, I think, in like chapter 1, like even just how they're texting, and like even the way that they text each other, and
see, that's even something that could easily change, like technology and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like How I Met Your Mother is a good example. You start watching that in the first season, they talk about MySpace and they complain about their VCR.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, that's funny, because then you get to like season 9 and it's like in the, you're like, oh, now they've like to Facebook and they've got Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, I don't
Boy Meets World, how people dress.
Yeah, like that. I think that's just gonna be part of it.
I think that there's gonna be stuff regardless. It's gonna end up probably being dated. So if there's stuff you want them to say, I'd say go for it.
I think what's been helpful though is seeing something with like fashion,
unless it's a period piece.
It's like something with like fashion, where I've noticed that in recent years, like some things have kind of come back from like maybe early 2000s, late 90s era, where I'm like, oh yeah, that's something that was worn back then and the way it was worn. And so like that kind of helped, because then it was like something more familiar to me, but then also is relevant again. So like with how I'm designing some characters and how they're dressed, I'm like, okay, it's something that will work now as well, and is also something I'm familiar with and would know how to like present it, I guess. But yeah, that's a good question. Like I don't know, like the time period of the stories, like what
well, yeah, because if you have it based on a real world location, then there's things that will exist or not exist at certain points, so it's like that changes everything. Like 90s Jordan, I would have like full spiked hair.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Michael?
I was gonna say, I think more serious stories probably have it easier compared to like, I think me and Nathaniel would probably have it the hardest with like jokes as far as that goes. But I think Nathaniel's humor is like a kind where it's like it doesn't need to rely on like a topical thing going on. So like Brick is just funny because what's going on in Brick is like funny. But
yep. And I feel like
I make jokes in my series sometimes where like I'm the type of person that would make a Harambe joke if it was still around and funny. But like now that it's not, I wouldn't do it. But like that's why I got to keep in mind that like I'm that kind of person that would probably use something that's popular right now
Just
and
don't throw
include
dark
it.
humor at it.
But
Have somebody else pop in and be like, "Wow, that meme's as dead as the gorilla." I don't know. Just
Wow.
see now you've made it topical again because they're like, "Oh, they know that's an old joke too," and also they made a joke about it being dead.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's one way to work
It's just
around.
a workaround to kind of even have the characters acknowledge that it's.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Kind of like when people talk about memes, because once again, I do a terrible job keeping up with those. I always just immediately go to Dat Boy.
yeah, the Dat Boy's a good meme though.
Yeah, I thought he was awesome.
That boy.
Yeah.
Here it comes, that boy. Oh man.
Oh, Wednesday, what up?
Exactly. So it's definitely it even comes down to like, well, the references or cameos or Easter eggs or whatever that you include.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that, like, because he's a legend, like Danny Trejo would never be irrelevant, especially considering for something that's like either based in LA or have a strong tie to Latin American culture. I mean, that's Danny Trejo's going to be part of that.
I hope he doesn't get canceled or something.
Even then, it's like he's like iconic. It's like you can't have that and not have like even.
I think the other good thing about him is just because of the type of person he is. I feel like if you ended up making a series, he would probably voice himself.
No, I know, or even star himself into live action. Just do some like de-aging technology.
I made this whole series to trick you to be my friend.
Now I can finally meet you. But even then, like, just how to go about that. Like I remember I talked to Mitch who does the series Henshin in Saturday Brunch, and about like for the backgrounds and like including some fun nods, because like he's done that in his series where you have like it'd be like a lecture hall at the college, and in the story, and like the classmates are Saturday AM characters, stuff like that. Where I'm like, that's really cool and clever, but it still doesn't distract. You know what I mean? It's like learning to balance that. So like in like when Manny grabs the bag of chips, the bag of chips that are still on the shelf that are the other brand is literally like a nod to Gunhild, actually. Like it's so that's something I threw in there. And then there's the October Legion poster, and then in chapter 2 in the classroom, like all the afternoon protagonists are in there. And so like stuff like that, like that's been a fun process to like learn to balance that, not make it distracting but still make it fun for people who do notice the things. But yeah, so where do we go from here?
Suggestion for you, Ricardo, for a character. Not a character, but just a random character trait that has nothing to do with the overall story, but I think it slides in that tiny bit more inclusion.
What is
Have a character that lays dominoes down with their left hand.
I mean,
that's not a joke. As somebody that always has to deal with learning like scissors with right hand and all that crap.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the game. You can lay it down with whichever hand you want.
Yeah, but just have somebody that's like one hand dominant, and you're like, oh, I see what he did there. You don't have to acknowledge it, or even just be like, oh, that's Tony left-handed.
No,
Tony left hands.
But Tony left hands.
But that's when you get into like pandering.
No, but I mean, like, there's definitely, yeah, I mean,
no, it's just
that happens.
A slight little touch that I'll see somebody like, because I'll be watching a show, I'm like, oh, hey, he's left-handed.
Like I'll guarantee right now, like even without knowing any specifics, but like that's something that will happen. Like it's not like something that'll happen. And there's even like other fun things too that I've thought about with that. Like people that may have like some specific quirk about them, like how they play or whatever, and
they're in a wheelchair. I'm adding more stuff for you. This is world building.
But you can't say things that might happen.
Oh, okay.
That's a good question from the live chat. There is Cubans and Dominicans and other Latin peoples definitely have a different kind of game that they play, and I know that Asians do as well. And it's funny because dominoes originated from China, by the way, which is an interesting factoid. But that's an interesting question, and I don't think I'm at liberty to say. Maybe, perhaps.
As he writes down this idea in his notes and pretends it's his.
No,
maybe I will do this.
No, this is stuff I've already discussed with my editor.
Okay, cool.
But I can't say. But
absolutely.
Maybe. For now, we're playing Bones, baby.
It's the name.
Yeah, Boneyard. It's from a mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Read chapter 3 when it comes out.
It's just the discard pile.
Read chapter 3 when it comes out.
Okay. Because even in Mexican trains, it's still the Boneyard.
That's not really the discard, but...
Well, no, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They'll find out when they read chapter 3.
Read chapter 3 when it comes out. But yeah, man. Well, I think it's around time when we could start to wrap this up.
Yeah, we've only kept him here for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
It's been fun, man. It's been fun.
But yeah, I know it's getting late for you, buddy. Or it is late for you. My bad.
Yeah, it's like 11:50 your time.
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Yeah. 10:47 here, and then Ricardo's like, haha, it's still 8.
I'm sorry.
He's got his whole night ahead of him. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm in the better time zone. I'm kidding.
Yeah, my time zone should slow down a little. To be honest.
Zawarudo. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to thank Monitor Comics, Michael, for being a guest and chilling. Dude, your series changed the world. It can be read at pilotmanga.com. And also your YouTube channel. It's just Monitor Comics, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I checked out some of the stuff on that like a month ago when you first showed me him.
Yeah, get yourselves on there if you're into making comics and want to get some tips and tricks and tutorials and even just like insider knowledge.
Even outside of comics and manga, like I checked in to kind of get like basic ideas of what the videos were about. Writing in general, if you want to go through with like different ideas for protagonists or villains and things like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there where people could hear it and be like, oh, obviously everybody should know that. And then there's other stuff like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So it's kind of it's a good for no matter what level you are, if you're like just starting writing or if you've been writing forever and you just want like, oh, you know what, I haven't thought about that, or I'll try that.
Yeah. It's really cool when I see comments from people that are like, well, I'm actually writing a novel or I'm writing a light novel. And I've had someone even say, I'm making a video game, and someone else told me I'm like dungeon mastering for a Dungeons and Dragons
I was gonna say that's a really good place to get stuff for DMing.
And like I only say comics and manga in my videos because that's like my category that I'm in, and like that's what I do. But those like writing tips can be applied like universally. So I'm glad that some people still decide. Yeah, I'm glad some people still like take the time to watch the video to see that and appreciate it. Absolutely. And they don't see the comic and manga tag and get turned off.
Yeah, and that's that's why you should go check it out. So I guess it is youtube.com/monitorcomics, right?
Yes.
All right. And where else could people find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I think that's it. At Monitor Comics.
At Monitor Comics. Awesome. And thanks, Jordan, for co-hosting once again.
That's what I do.
This is Podconius number 5. My pleasure.
Yep. Man. It was fun having you on my podcast that I named after Ricardo.
So ugly. Podconius number 5, everybody. That's crazy. And I just want to wish you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and a happy New Year. Uncopyrighted music.
That's how the song goes.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
So take care and see you maybe next week.
I just followed Monitor Comics on Twitter.
Dude,
thank you.
You did that. You can't do that.
I did with the TFG account, not because that's the one I use for everything.
Oh yeah. All right, everybody. Take care. I'm gonna see you.